Today's episode of Darkness Radio is brought to you by Microdose. Get out of pain, get out of anxiety, and start treating yourself a little bit better. Try Microdose. Microdose is a CBD THC gummy that will get you out of pain, get you out of anxiety, and get you into feeling good again. To learn more about microdosing THC, go to microdose.com and use the code DARKNESS to get free shipping and 30% off your first order. Links can be found in the show description, but again, that's microdose.com, code DARKNESS. Welcome in to the best in paranormal talk radio. This is Darkness Radio. I'm Tim Dennis. Right over there, because it is a Wednesday Parashare. It's supernatural news. It's Parashare. That means only one thing. We got to have a co-host. So we went out. We got the best in the biz. It's the BCB, the Big Cuddly Bear. It's the Beer City Bruiser himself. How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic, Tim. And I want to say hello to the Darkness Radio family.
That's right. We wave at them, but it's radio, so they can't see it. Look at that.
I was waving when you introduced me, but then I remember you always saying you can't see it. It's radio, so that's why I wanted to say it.
You just go like this. See?
And I love the messages I've been getting and the emails and the feedback that you've been giving me has been positive, and I love it.
Good. That's a good thing. I haven't had anybody say eat my shorts lately, so I've been getting nothing but positive feedback, I guess.
You know, that's such a dated reference now. I said that to a young trainee, and he looked at me like, huh? And I'm like, come on.
You got to know that one.
And then my son messaged me the other day. He goes, hey, have you seen Beavis and Butthead? I'm like, I grew up on Beavis and Butthead. I guess they re-released it.
They're back on Paramount Plus. You got to forgive me, folks. I had a little bit of a low blood sugar this morning, so I'm slamming Cokes in order to get my blood sugar decent here. But yeah, they're back on Paramount Plus. They started out with a couple of specials, and now they've got a new series.
Yeah, and I was trying to explain to my son, like, I watched that as a kid. Like, that was my childhood.
Well, some of us were
not childhood,
older.
I guess.
Yeah.
Teenage years. I was a teenager.
Yeah.
But anyways, I'm familiar with the Beavis and the Butthead.
Yeah, the Beavis and the Butthead. We're speaking in accents today because we actually have a new sponsor coming up at the end of the month. We found out about at the end of the month we're going to be welcoming Babbel in. So Bruiser and I are going to be continental. We're
going to try.
Yeah.
I like how when you asked me what language to learn, I went, I don't know. I guess I should learn Spanish. You went, ooh, that's a good one. Like, I shocked you.
Well, and then I asked you, didn't you learn enough of that in the ring? And you were like,
no. I can say beer and bathroom.
Beer and bathroom and drop down and tackle. That's about all I know. Yeah. What's funny is really youth is wasted on the young, right?
It is, yes.
So, in ninth grade, you have you do the tour of Europe. You get the German, the French, and the Spanish.
Yep.
Right. And then you forget it all.
Oh, definitely.
I mean, how much German do you remember from ninth grade?
I took 4 years of German in high school.
Oh, sure. Show off.
Yeah, but I don't remember any of it. No? I can recite a Tool song because it's funny that the Tool song's all in German.
Oh, okay.
But all it is his grandmother's recipe to apple pie. But you leave out the eggs because the eggs represent the devil.
Oh,
like that's all it is. That's all it says. It says the whole recipe, and then it tells you to leave out the eggs.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah.
So like I know that.
Yeah.
And people are like, "Oh, you took 4 years of German. Can you say anything?" So I'll just sing the song to them. And like the people that know German look at me like, what? I'm like, that's all I know.
Yeah, and the people who know Tool are like, yeah, rock on, bro.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. I mean, so you know some German. But French, do you remember any ninth grade French?
I know oui, oui.
There you go.
And I know how to swear, too. I know how to swear in pretty much all languages. Because as a kid, that was fun.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Now I'm an adult and I can just swear whenever I want. It's not as fun.
Yeah, that's true.
When I was a kid, and I couldn't swear. But I'd yell at my mom in French, the swear word. Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
I felt, vindicated. Like, I'm a man now. I can swear at you in French.
The fun ones were, and now see, it's no fun anymore because you've got like Urban Dictionary and stuff like that. You can learn like, weird terms and stuff like that.
Yeah, you have Google Translate, which I use every day because I get overseas fans sending me stuff. So it's like, what are they saying? Like,
Oh, yeah.
But if my parents had Google Translate when I was a kid, I would have gotten a lot more trouble than I did.
That's true. The parents can check up on you much easier now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
Oh, yeah. Trust me, I've done it.
Oh, have you?
Mrs. Bruiser's got Megs one time, our daughter, who was 18 at the time. Told us she was going to be one place, but then she checked the phone thing and she was at another place.
Oh.
Getting all obsessed. Well, she's 18 now and she's safe. We'll see what happens. We let it go a couple of days and then I said, so how was the party? She looked at me, what? I said, been around the block a few times. Like,
that's right.
It's easier now for us to keep track than it was for your grandparents to keep track of me, even though my parents still knew when I'd sneak out of the house.
Yeah. Well, parents are savvy like that. I think we, as kids, we're quite naive.
Yeah.
I think we we have all the answers.
Well, I asked my dad, how did you know I snuck out? And how come I never got in trouble? He goes, son, beneath your bedroom window, there was a reason we didn't plant any plants there. He says, and there's a reason I watered it every day. So when I'd jump out the window and I'd land, I'd leave the feet prints in the mud.
Oh.
So the next morning when he came around, he could tell if I went out or not.
See? Uh-huh.
And he says, just remember, I'm everywhere. I'm like, okay, Dad.
He's like, Batman, I'm Your dad shows up, I am the knight. That's good stuff. Papa Bruiser in his Batman costume outside your window. Listen, son. You'll never escape my gaze. Yeah, I know. I think my dad was, well, not only was he naive, he was absentee. But that's a whole other thing. You probably heard the BetterHelp commercial yesterday.
Yeah.
Well, I told
your mom still knew everything.
No. No. My stepdad. Now, he was a different story.
Okay. Did you have brothers and sisters too, don't you?
I'm the oldest, so I had...
They didn't rat you out?
No. God, no. I was a free-range cowboy when I was a teenager. You got to remember, I was a little different kid. I held down jobs from the time I was like 14, 15 years old.
Well, I did too. I worked at a car wash.
And I also started partying at that age too. So I was a different kid.
I did too, because I worked at a car wash.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's the only downside with starting work. I shouldn't say downside, but that's starting work as early as we did. You meet the older kids.
Yes.
And you just want to hang out with the older kids.
Yep. That's exactly right. Yeah. And that's that culture. That's that age. If you start, actually working a job at the age of 15, you want to glom onto the older kids. And of course, there's a party culture there. So, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
But think of all the memories we have.
That's true. I think one of my finer memories was going to a party in Anoka and watching somebody projectile vomit into a fish tank. And filling an entire fish tank full of vomit. And just watching the fish try to swim around it. And then one fish just started to eat all of it. And I was like, oh, he is going to explode. And I just remember just watching this fish go at it. And I know it's a gross memory.
Oh, he's going to explode.
He's going to explode.
Nobody thought of saving the fish.
Yes, the owner of the house just started to grab the fish and try to save them and put them into a different, but then the one fish was just going at it and eating all the bits and kibbles and bits, put it that way. And I felt like Vince McMahon at that point. I was like, he's gonna explode. He's gonna explode. I felt like calling, play by play on the bit. I was intrigued.
You didn't want to help out at all. You just wanted to make sure there was some sort of creative commentary going on.
Yeah. I knew I was a broadcaster at that point, even though I was only like, let's just say I was a tender age at that point. But I knew my future was broadcasting because I wanted to call play by play on it.
I just picture you grabbing a pencil, putting your finger up to your ear, and acting like the pencil is your microphone.
Yeah. Yep. That's exactly what I did.
Tim the Cruiser Dennis here. We're watching the fish. He's gonna explode. He's gonna explode.
That fish is like a Hoover, ladies and gentlemen. Look at him suck it up. It was, it was something else. I'll tell you that. But yeah, I digress. We've really gotten deep into this program.
Way off topic.
Yeah, and gotten way off topic. Oh, the good old days. If you have really gross memories from partying as a child, you can get them off your chest by sending it in to tim@darknessradio.com. We'll get you through that. Sure as shooting. Today's program, by the way, brought to you by Microdose Gummies.
Ooh, I love those.
Yes, by gosh, we are grateful to Microdose Gummies. As you can tell, we're in a good mood because we're out of pain. We're free of our anxiety. We're sleeping better, and it helps us with pretty much everything in our lives. We're feeling good. We're getting around better, and we want to thank Microdose Gummies. By the way, you go to microdose.com right now. And you use the code DARKNESS, and you get not only free shipping, but 30% off your first order. So you can do that right now.
I have a new favorite flavor.
Ooh, what's that?
The orange sugar cookies.
Really?
So good.
Really?
Yeah. If you like, and I'm not a creamsicle fan. I don't like dreamsicles or creamsicles, the orange ones, but these, so good. Really? So it's hard to eat just the one or two to get rid of the pain because they taste so good.
Be careful, my friend.
No, I know you got to be careful, but it's just like, and like I said, I'm not normally an orange cream or orange dreamsicle. I don't care for that stuff. So I was like, I'll try them, and they're my new favorite.
Oh, good. Yeah, I before bed now, I use the Indica Granddaddy
OG, yep.
OG,
I use it before bed
the
too,
sour,
yep.
Granddaddy Sour OG.
Yep,
yeah,
that's what I use.
Yeah, those not only help with pain, but help with sleep. And I've been sleeping much, much better now. So,
have you been having more vivid dreams too?
Yeah.
I have too.
Yeah.
I think that's the creative side of it.
Yeah, most definitely. On today's program, boy, have we got a program in store for you today, Bruiser. We'll find out today, is it truly the James Webb Telescope and its sharpness and brilliance, or is it just a piece of delicious, delicious sausage? Is it food or folly? That's coming up today on today's program. One of the things we'll discover. Also, food or folly, is it a dangerous cryptid, or is it a lovely plate of spaghetti? That's coming up on today's program as well.
I can't wait to see what cryptid is confused with a plate of spaghetti. This would be great.
Oh, yes. A real shrunken head on today's program. And towards the end of today's program, you've heard the saying, blow it out your ass, but now you can breathe through your ass. Scientists have proven this. We'll talk about that later in the program. And a guy who just can't say no. Not only can he just not say no, he just can't put it down. We'll explain. It's a not safe for work last story of the program. Hoo boy. But first, we'll start off the program by saying, you got it right. The Earth just can't stop spinning and spinning and spinning and spinning and getting faster and faster and faster. Art Bell had a point when he said something about the quickening.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I remember that.
Yeah. Because
like half a second every year, something like that, or a millimeter a second, something like that.
Well, let's not get that fast. I mean, it's speeding up.
Fast.
Bruiser.
Yeah, it's speeding up. I know that. I remember him talking about that.
Earth is spinning faster than it should be, and no one is sure why. The planet recorded 2 of its shortest days in recent history, and the question is, what's going on? If the days feel like they're getting shorter as you get older, you're not imagining it.
Really?
Yeah. On June 29th of this year, the Earth made one full rotation that took 1.59 milliseconds, less than the average day length of 86,400 seconds, or 24 hours. Now, you may be saying, Tim, 1.59 milliseconds, you can't even count that. You ready? Bam. There you go. There it was.
But you take all those milliseconds and it adds up. Like, think of the Office Space. The whole point of the thing was they were going to steal a half a cent off of each thing.
Yep.
That builds up over time.
That does. While 1.59 millisecond shortening may not seem like much, it is part of a larger and peculiar trend. Indeed, on July 26th of 2022, another new record was nearly set when the Earth finished its day 1.50 milliseconds shorter than usual, as reported by The Guardian and the time-tracking website Time and Date. Bet you didn't know that site was out there.
I didn't know that site was out there at all.
Yeah, it is.
Just sounds like the Earth's getting older, finishes a little faster.
It needs some of that Mount Vesuvius that Ric Flair is out there. Woo! That he's out there. He's like, you know what? You got to get out there. You got to get that Mount Vesuvius, planet Earth. You know, when you just need to hold it up a little bit longer. Speaking of holding it up a little bit longer, end of the show, you'll find out what maybe they need to consult the guy at the end of the show. He'll keep the Earth going a little longer.
There it is.
We'll find out his secret. That's what we'll start the day out a little shorter. We'll end up going a little longer at the end of the show. You'll find out what I mean.
See, we're going full circle. We were talking about long-term storytelling off air. This is long-term storytelling.
It is. There's a theme to today's show.
It's length.
Exactly. I don't just slap this shit together. There's a plan to this stuff when I sit down and put this thing together. So Time and Date notes that the year 2020 had the highest number of short days since scientists started using atomic clocks to take daily measurements in the 1960s. They've been measuring it since the 60s.
Who hasn't?
Well, I can just see the old man in a bathroom with a ruler.
Remember that old phone number you could call to get the time, the date? And I think it was the weather too, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I've used that many times to get out of conversations.
Really?
Yeah.
You're like, hold on, I got to take a call. They used to have a TCF Bank weather ball. Was a weather ball phone line, I believe it was, and you used to call it, and it would give you the day, the date, the time, the weather, and it would tell you where on the weather ball it was. They used to give away a bank at the TCF Bank that had a weather ball. Yeah, but it didn't function. It didn't exactly tell you. I don't know. There was color coded. It was confusing. It was before Armageddon and
it was before digital and all that.
Yeah, I don't know. I never did get the colors on the weather ball. I was confused as a child. Too many hits to the head.
Yeah.
Where were we? Oh, yes. Okay. So Time and Date notes that the year 2020 had the highest number of short days since scientists started using atomic clocks to take daily measurements in the 1960s. Oh, yes, that's right. Old man measuring in the bathroom. Got it. Scientists first started to notice the trend in 2016. So that's when we really started getting shorter.
That's when they did that's when they did the examination. And they're like, hey, Earth, you're going a little fast here.
I hear Earth can do stretching exercises.
Okay.
They offer those on the internet.
They do?
Yeah, along with pills. That's what I hear. Pills and stretching exercises. While the length of an average day may vary slightly in the short term, in the long term, the length of the day has been increasing since the Earth-Moon system was formed. That's because over time, the force of gravity has moved energy from the Earth via the tides to the Moon, pushing it slightly further away from us. Meanwhile, because the two bodies are in tidal lock, meaning the moon's rate of rotation and revolution are equivalent such that we only ever see one of its sides, physics dictates that the Earth's day must lengthen if the two bodies are to remain in tidal lock as the moon moves further away. Billions of years ago, the moon was much closer and the length of the Earth's day much shorter.
Okay. So in layman's terms, the moon wants to cuddle. The Earth has a headache.
That's a good way of putting it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that. While scientists know that the Earth's days are shortening on a short-term scale, a definitive reason as to why remains unclear, along with the effect it might have on how we as humans track time. The rotation rate of the Earth is a complicated business. It has to do with exchange of angular momentum between Earth and the atmosphere and the effects of the ocean and the effect of the moon. Judah Levine, a physicist in the Time and Frequency Division of the National Institute of Standards and Technology, that would be NIST for you and I, told Discover magazine. You're not able to predict what's going to happen very far in the future. But Fred Watson, Australia's astronomer at large, how would you like to be the Australia's astronomer at large?
That would be amazing. You just travel. Is he constantly in nighttime, do you think?
I think so. He's probably running around with a cape on.
Like he's a vampire.
Kind of, but he's an astronomer. So it's not as dangerous. You know, he doesn't run around sucking the blood out of ladies' necks. He runs around going, would you like to look through my telescope? Blah, blah, blah.
I see stars in your eyes, but then again, I see stars everywhere.
Exactly. That's exactly what he's doing. So Fred Watson, not the most attractive name either. He sounds like a pro golfer.
He actually sounds like he could hold a PBS TV show, like on PBS about space.
Fred Watson, Australia's astronomer at large. Trying to make it sound PBS-like, yeah.
You did. You nailed it.
Fred Watson, Australia's astronomer at large. That if nothing is done to stop it, he says, you're going to gradually get the seasons out of step with the calendar. Uh-oh. Like we're not already.
Could we really have Christmas in July?
Don't we already?
Yeah, no, yeah.
It's already snowing here in seasons that it shouldn't snow. I mean,
yeah, and the heat that's going everywhere.
Yeah, I mean,
was later.
We're already going to have 80 in October, and we're already going to be snowing in July. So what's the big deal?
See, I'm okay with all that.
Yeah,
because I live in a place where there's no snow, so I'm okay with that. And a warm Halloween sounds like fun. I still want the leaves to change and all that and the creepiness, but if I go out with shorts and a sleeveless shirt, I'm fine with it.
There you go. When you start looking at the real nitty-gritty, Fred Watson said, Fred Watson, king of the nitty-gritty. You realize that Earth is not just a solid ball that is spinning, Watson said. It's got liquid on the inside, it's got liquid on the outside, and it's got an atmosphere, and all of these things slosh around a bit. Oh, Fred. Fred is such a poet.
He's so making the Earth sound so dirty there.
He is, isn't he?
Sloshes around everywhere.
Fred Watson, astronomer and dirty poet.
I think he's body shaming Earth.
Maybe, yeah.
Like he's telling Earth to hit a Planet Fitness, isn't he? Hey, you want to slosh around a little less? Go hit Planet Fitness, planet.
Matt King from the University of Tasmania, where there are a lot of I think the Devils are the actual school mascot.
Are they really?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like it.
Tasmanian Devils, get it. Described the trend to ABC News Australia as certainly odd. He says clearly something has changed, and changed in a way we haven't seen since the beginning of precise radio astronomy in the 1970s, King said. Could it be related to extreme weather patterns? As reported by The Guardian, NASA has reported that the Earth's spin can slow stronger winds in El Nino years and can slow down the planet's spin. Likewise, the melting of ice caps moves matter around on Earth and thus can change the rate of spin. While this minor time suck. Those words make me laugh. While this minor time suck has little effect on our everyday life.
You're making me laugh now just thinking of it.
I saw that movie. It had Johnny Wadd in it. Some scientists have called for the introduction of a negative leap second, which would subtract 1 second from a day and keep the world on track for the atomic time system. If the trend continues, since 1972, leap seconds have been added every few years. The last one was added in 2016. It's quite possible that a negative leap second will be needed if the Earth's rotation rate increases further, but it's too early to say if this is likely to happen. Physicist Peter Wibberley, which is the cutest last name ever, Peter
He's just a cute little scientist. Oh, I am Peter Wimberly.
Weren't the Wimberleys those little furry things on Star Trek?
No, those were the trouble with
Tribbles.
Tribble.
Yeah,
Tribbles.
get it? Wimberly Tribbles.
Yeah.
Of the National Physics Laboratory in the UK, told the Telegraph. He says there are also international discussions taking place about the future of leap seconds, and it also is possible that the need for a negative leap second might push the decision toward ending leap seconds for good. So we're leaping ahead, we're leaping behind, we're leaping forward, backwards, and sideways, but still we're losing 1.59 milliseconds every few weeks.
That's not good.
No, it's not.
It's going to build up.
Not at all. Not at all. So there you go.
So are we technically time traveling then?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm okay with it.
Bruiser, I have an even more pressing question for you.
Okay, I'm ready to answer.
I've got a serious answer for you and a not so serious answer for you. I'm going to give you the not so serious answer first, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
I'll ask you first, and I'll give you my answer afterwards. Who will be the first woman on the moon to walk on the moon?
Let's see. Ellen DeGeneres.
Really?
Yeah, she's rich. Or Oprah.
Or Oprah. Okay. Why Ellen or Oprah?
There's two very rich, powerful women. They're everywhere. And Ellen's show just got taken off the air, so she got free time.
That's true. That's a very good answer. My answer was pretty simple. It was going to be some guy's disgruntled ex-mother-in-law. But hey, I was going for simple there. Well, you know, I was going for the comedic take. You were going for the serious one. They're saying that it could be a helicopter flying mother of twin girls, an ex-UK rugby star, an Iraq war vet named Anne Immel.
Wait, Anne Immel?
Yeah, like the name Anne Immel.
Yeah.
They're among 9 female astronauts who could make a lunar landing in 2025.
Oh, we're going back to the moon. Awesome.
Yeah. It has been more than a half century since humans first walked on the moon, with Neil Armstrong uttering those immortal words, "That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. By the way, leave my mother-in-law here. Let's go." No, he didn't say that part. 11 more Americans followed, including Buzz Aldrin, Alan Shepard, and Eugene Cernan. But all of them were men. Now NASA is planning to land the first woman on the moon in a little over 3 years' time, and has whittled down the list to just 9 candidates. They include a Cambridge graduate, a Marine veteran who fought in Iraq and Afghanistan, and a former University of Bath rugby player who starred in the English women's premiership. Not to mention a helicopter flying mother of twin girls and a scuba diver with a love of animals who dreamed of going to space at the age of 5. With NASA's uncrewed Artemis 1 rocket set to launch later this month, the first of 3 complex missions that will pave the way for returning humans to the moon, the countdown is officially on to become the first woman, as they put it in quotes. Mail Online took a look at looks at each female astronaut, and we can give you their names. We're not going to go fully into it, but we'll give you a little overview real quick of who they are. Kayla Barron is called the Young Gun. She's from Richland, Washington. She's 34 years old. She spent 176 days, 2 hours, and 39 minutes in space, believe it or not.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. Kayla Barron has been a NASA astronaut for 5 years and is the second youngest to be chosen for the Artemis moon landing program in 2025. She has UK links after earning a master's degree in nuclear engineering from the University of Cambridge. The 34-year-old was also part of the first group of women to become submarine warfare officers. It's pretty impressive. Yeah. She served as a member of the SpaceX Crew 3 mission to the International Space Station, which launched on November 10th of 2021. She worked as a flight engineer during the expedition and completed a 6.5-hour spacewalk to replace a communications antenna that had malfunctioned. She returned in March of this year after spending almost 177 days in orbit.
Okay, so she's more than qualified.
Oh yeah, yeah. She's got the hops to make that trip.
Yep.
Christina Cook is the veteran. She's from Grand Rapids, Michigan. She's 43 years old. She spent 328 days, 13 hours, and 58 minutes in space.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Christina Cook is the record holder for the longest single space flight by a woman, having spent 328 days in orbit during her trip to the International Space Station between 2019 and 2020. That surpasses the previous record of 288 days held by Peggy Whitson just a few months prior. Cook and another female astronaut, Jessica Meyer, completed the first all-woman spacewalk. In total, she's a veteran of 6 spacewalks, totaling 42 hours and 15 minutes, including the first 3 all-women spacewalks. Following her record-breaking ISS mission, Cook was included in Time's Most Influential People of 2020. From a young age, she wanted to be an astronaut and joined her middle school's rocket club. The 43-year-old has previously worked in Antarctica at the Amundsen Scott South Pole Station and Palmer Station, where she later contributed to instruments on the Juno spacecraft and Van Allen probes. After being selected for the Artemis program, she said, "To me, what Artemis really represents is that NASA is committed to answering humanity's call to explore by all and for all." Pretty interesting there. Nicole Mann is called the Duke. She's from Petaluma, California. She's 45 years old. She's not spent any time in space, but hey, there's a first time for everything. Nicole Mann is a colonel in the Marine Corps and a former test pilot who flew 47 combat missions in Iraq and Afghanistan. I think she's up for it.
Yeah. Test pilots are crazy, man. Like, kudos to them.
Yeah. In total, she's logged upwards of 2,500 flight time hours in 25 different aircraft. Mann's friends and fellow crew call her Duke, a nickname she has said was actually her call sign in the Marines. Almost a decade ago, she was one of 8 candidates selected from more than 1,600 applicants to train as an astronaut for NASA. After completing her astronaut training in 2015, the mother of one was supposed to be among the first human passengers on Boeing's Starliner spacecraft during its first crewed flights in the coming years. But in 2021, she was reassigned to the SpaceX Crew 5 mission, which is due to launch to the International Space Station next month, with Mann as the mission commander. In an interview with National Geographic, Mann mentioned her 8-year-old son, saying, "We always sit outside and we love to look at the stars and look at the moon. But now I think both of us look at it with a little different light in our eyes and with a little different twinkle." That's kind of cool.
Yeah, it is.
Anne McLean is called the Animal. Get it? The Animal. She's from Spokane, Washington. She's 43 years old. She spent 203 days, 15 hours, and 16 minutes in space. Anne McLean is a former Army helicopter pilot and Iraq veteran who went by the call sign Animal. It dates back to her rugby days at the university in the UK, where she also uses the name in her Twitter handle, Astro Animal. The 43-year-old played rugby in the English Women's Premiership and credits the sport with giving her the grit, toughness, and mental focus to succeed as an astronaut. She's a big fan of Top Gun and has revealed that she watched it so much one summer that her brother broke the tape to get her to stop watching it. McLean said she was devastated and that it was that incident that inspired her to become a military pilot.
Oh, okay.
She was
going to show her brother.
Yeah, exactly. Then she flew a plane right into his ass. No, I'm just kidding. She was initially slated to carry out the first all-woman spacewalk alongside Christina Cook during Women's History Month in March 2019. But spacesuit sizing issues resulted in the EVA being reassigned to Nick Hague and Cook. The latter would go on to make the first all-female spacewalk alongside Jessica Meyer. In 2019, McLean was investigated and subsequently cleared by NASA over what was characterized as the first alleged space crime. She was accused by her estranged spouse of improperly accessing bank records while on a 6-month mission aboard the ISS. How do you do that?
That's some serious Wi-Fi.
Yeah, it is. After being cleared of any wrongdoing, McLean's former partner, Summer Worden, was charged with making false statements to federal authorities. McLean has spent a total of 204 days in space and was the lead spacewalker on 2 spacewalks, totaling 13 hours and 8 minutes. on her mission with the ISS. Well, that's an interesting pick. Yeah. Jessica Meyer, as we've mentioned her a few times, she's the dreamer. She comes from Caribou, Maine. She's 45 years old. She spent 204 days, 15 hours, and 19 minutes, as we've mentioned before. She dreamed of becoming an astronaut at the age of 5. At the age of 13, she attended a youth space camp at Purdue University, which is Neil Armstrong's alma mater. She was eventually chosen to join NASA in 2013 before carrying out physiological training, survival training, flight classes, and a wide range of technical training at space centers around the world. She's got a marked history here, as we've mentioned. She completed the first all-female spacewalk alongside Christina Koch in October of 2019. Apart from English and Russian, which are required for astronaut training, she also speaks Swedish because her mother is from Sweden, her father's from Israel. Astronauts are allowed to bring a number of personal items to the ISS, so Meyer chose an Israeli flag and a pair of novelty socks with Stars of David as part of her allocation. She plays flute, piccolo, and saxophone. She did that when she was younger and enjoys reading classical literature. Prior to becoming an astronaut, her career as a scientist focused on the physiology of animals in extreme environments. So she's well decorated, and there's a good chance that she may be picked for the first moon mission. Jasmine, I believe it's Mobelli is how it's pronounced. She's the skateboarding chopper pilot.
That's such an interesting little name. Skateboarding chopper pilot.
Right. Okay. She's probably one of the younger candidates. She's from Baldwin, New York, 39 years old. She spent no time in space, but that's okay. Jasmine Mobelli's Twitter bio reads, Mommy, Marine Attack Helicopter Pilot, Test Pilot, NASA Astronaut, excited to share my journey. She's a mother to twin girls, and earlier this year tweeted, incredibly grateful to be a mom to these two who fill my heart and never fail to make me smile. In March, the 39-year-old was selected to be the commander for NASA's upcoming SpaceX Crew 7 mission to the ISS. The mission is expected to launch no earlier than 2023 on a SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket from Launch Complex 39A at NASA's Kennedy Space Center in Florida. It will be the first space flight for Mobelli, who became a NASA astronaut in 2017. She was born in what was then West Germany to an Iranian family before her parents emigrated to the United States. Mobelli later earned a bachelor's degree in aerospace engineering with information technology at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT, where she played volleyball and basketball. She also loves to go skateboarding with her husband, as well as paddle boarding, dancing, and flying kites. As a Marine Corps test pilot, she has flown more than 150 missions and accrued 2,000 hours of flight time in more than 25 different aircraft. She also graduated with honors from the U.S. Naval Test Pilot School in Maryland. Pretty interesting.
It's a pretty good roster that NASA's building. Like, they're coming with the heavy hitters.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Every single one of those women that you said sounds qualified.
Yeah. Kate Rubins, the virus hunter.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I think
that better be computer virus.
I was going to say
space virus.
I was going to say, if it's a regular virus, I need her around the house here. I've had COVID a few times. Napa, California is her birthplace, her hometown. She's 43. She spent 300 days, 1 hour and 31 minutes in space. As far as she's concerned, Kate is the 60th woman to fly in space. I didn't realize there were that many women who had been in space.
Neither did I.
Yeah.
Like, they don't, over the years, astronauts have lost their glory, I think. They're not as glorified as they used to be.
Yeah, which is sad.
I think the last time that astronauts were really glorified was the Challenger. And because it was such a tragedy, I think they kind of back off getting to know the astronauts as much as we used to.
Right. Kate Rubins has become the 60th woman to fly in space when she launched on a Russian Soyuz spacecraft to the International Space Center, or Space Station rather, on July 7th of 2016. During her mission, she became the first person to sequence DNA in space.
Wow. Oh, wow.
Yeah. Across her 2 flights, she has spent a total of 300 days in space, the 4th longest stint by a U.S. female astronaut. A microbiologist as well as a NASA astronaut, Rubens also holds a Ph.D. in cancer biology and calls herself a former virus hunter on Twitter. When she was younger, she didn't dream of becoming an astronaut, but rather was more focused on studying and eradicating viruses. That's exactly what she did after receiving degrees from the University of California, San Diego, and Stanford. Rubens later researched therapies for Ebola and Lassa viruses while helping to develop a smallpox infection model.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's the medical person on the ship.
Yeah, but she's
Doc.
She's also Army as well. She was sworn into the Army Reserve as a major.
You don't have to be Army to be in NASA, right? That's
No.
or you don't have to be military, I should say.
Nope, you don't have to be military. Jessica Watkins is the geologist. She's from Lafayette, Colorado. She's 34. She's currently in space right now.
Oh.
Yeah, she can just take a right and go to the moon. Yeah, I guess.
That's all she got to do. Like, just push off and aim for the moon.
That's right. Jessica Watkins is currently serving as a mission specialist on NASA's SpaceX Crew 4 mission to the International Space Station, which launched on April 27th of this year. She has worked on NASA's Ames Research Center and NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory. It was a science team collaborator for NASA's Mars Science Laboratory rover Curiosity. The Colorado native, there we go, earned a Bachelor of Science in Geological and Environmental Sciences from Stanford University and a doctorate in geology from the University of California, Los Angeles, or UCLA. She has been documenting her journey aboard the ISS on Twitter. In June, Watkins wrote, "As beautiful as the Earth is, I can't seem to take my eyes off of the moon."
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
How romantic.
So, yeah. Stephanie Wilson is called the favorite. She is from Boston, Massachusetts. She's 55. She spent 42 days, 23 hours, and 46 minutes in space. Stephanie Wilson became the second black woman in space and is a veteran of 3 space shuttle missions to the ISS in 2006, 2007, and 2010. She is NASA's most senior, most flown in space African-American female astronaut, having logged more than 42 days in orbit. If selected as the first woman, she would also take the title of the oldest person to have walked on the moon, eclipsing Alan Shepard's record of 47 years and 80 days back in 1971. She has been an astronaut longer than anyone else on the 18-strong Artemis team and has flown more times than all but one of them.
Wow.
Yep.
I hope she gets it. Like, I hope she's the first one, because you just said it. Like, all that history is being made with that one step.
Exactly.
Because she's female, she's African American, and she's old. Like,
and she's
check
old.
check all the boxes.
That's right. That's right. We'll move on here. We're still in space, but we're looking through the Webb telescope.
Ah, okay. So we're away from the moon. We're looking into deep space now.
That's right. We're looking into deep space now. And as we gaze into deep space, we look through the Webb telescope and we see the most distant star in the universe as seen through the eye of the Webb.
Oh, okay.
Look at that. Isn't it gorgeous? Last weekend, the James Webb Space Telescope managed to capture images of, I believe it's called Earendel, which is the most distant star in the universe. Hence, we're looking at what the latest Webb imagery reveals about the distant stellar formation and the unique origins of the star's name and how it compares to other discoveries by Webb's predecessor, which is the Hubble Space Telescope. We'll hit the highlights here for you, or try to hit the highlights here for you. A few of the other stories, it just talks about the few of the other stories that pop up here. So in the latest newsworthy achievement, the James Webb Space Telescope has produced images of Earendel, which is the most distant known star in the universe. The images arrived following the announcement of the star's discovery earlier this year by Webb's predecessor, which is the Hubble Space Telescope. According to NASA, the enigmatic Earendel is so far away that its light has taken 12.9 billion years to reach Earth.
Oh, wow.
giving astronomers a glimpse of how it looked when the universe was less than a tenth of its current age.
Yeah.
Previously, the smallest objects that have been observed at comparable distances were entire clusters of stars that astronomers believed to be embedded within some of the universe's earliest galaxies. The discovery was made with the help of gravitational lensing observed in deep field imagery obtained by Hubble. And due to its great distance, Earendel appears only faintly in the new Webb images. The previous single star record holder was also detected by Hubble back in 2018, hailing from the universe as it existed when it was just 4 billion years old.
No, it was just a little youngster by then.
Yeah, it was just a baby. Yeah. So where does Earendel's unusual name come from? Well, it was named after a character in the... I'm going to get this wrong, I know, because I'm not a huge Tolkien reader, J.R.R. Tolkien. Is it the Silmarillion? A prequel to the J.R.R. Tolkien's classic series Lord of the Rings. The star's name and that of Tolkien's character is actually derived from the Old English variant. Is it Earendel? That is itself a derivative of Arvandil, which is a Norse mythological figure whose toe, according to legend, was tossed into the sky by the god Thor to become the star Arvandilista. Arvandilista. Okay. Yeah, Arvandilista is the name of it.
I get old Greek, like they used to come up with stuff to explain stuff, but that's pretty creative. Like, he just cut his toe off and threw it up. He didn't need it anymore. That's why there's a star there.
Then it became a star. Although the association with stars is already obvious, a deeper look into the name reveals that the Old English word Earendel has even more stellar associations. It's often associated with such concepts as rising light, with some translations equating it to radiance or morning star, or similarly as dawn or ray of light, according to John Lindo, the renowned scholar of Norse mythology, not North. North mythology. I'm talking
North mythology.
Talking like Sylvester now. North mythology. Not to stray too far into the weeds here, but other interpretations drawing directly from Old Norse include the interpretation of the prefix auras being, that's a new word, concomitant.
Okay.
You ever heard of that word? Concomitant?
Never. I think you made that up.
No, I think I did too. With aura in Proto-Germanic. Maybe we should learn Proto-Germanic from Babel.
Us, won't it? Well, I think it's just you and me are the only two speaking it then.
Yeah, we would be. Unlike its use in modern English, which would have been appropriate for consideration in naming a star, aura in this ancient context instead means mud or gravel. In short, while Earendel's unique name evokes imagery from ancient mythology, its actual name, as designated by astronomers, is the Leth mythic founding WHL 0137-LS. How boring. So Earendel is out there, and it's 12 billion years plus, and the James Webb Telescope has captured it. So now it's captured that faraway star, Bruiser.
Right.
Right?
It's way out, 12 billion light years away.
Impressive, right?
Very impressive, yeah.
Oh, my God. It's gotten the sharp image of this star from far away, right?
Yeah.
Not so fast, my friend.
Okay.
We
just painted this whole tale about how amazing it was.
Oh, it is, and it's an amazing telescope.
Yeah.
It captures things in all its glory.
Yeah.
From the far edges of the universe.
Right.
In amazing detail.
Yes.
We've seen some amazing pictures from this James Webb Telescope.
I'm excited.
Including an actual slice of chorizo.
In space?
Well, I don't know about in space. It might be on its lens.
So it's the maintenance guy like chewing his chorizo and it just falls on the lens. Like, fix that later.
Pretty much, yeah. On top of all the other things that the James Webb Space Telescope has captured, it turns out a French scientist has apologized after tweeting a photo of a slice of chorizo, claiming it was an image of a distant star taken by the James Webb Space Telescope. Etienne,
that's going to spark a game of, is it a James Webb photo or a food photo?
Exactly, yeah.
This is the new party game that's going to be out there.
It is, yeah.
Yep.
Etienne Klein, a celebrated physicist and director at France's Alternative Energies and Atomic Energy Commission, shared the image of the spicy Spanish sausage. Say that 10 times fast. My spicy Spanish sausage on Twitter last week, praising the level of detail it provided.
It's so detailed. Was he just going through his phone and uploading what he thought was pictures? And, oh, damn it. That was my lunch.
What's funny is the tweet is this. Picture of Proxima Centauri, the nearest star to the sun, located 4.2 light years away from us. It was taken by the James Webb Space Telescope. This level of detail, a new world is unveiled every day. He told his more than 91,000 followers on Sunday. Boy. The post is retweeted and commented upon by thousands of users who
they're all into it.
Oh, yeah, took the scientist by his word. The thing is, however, it wasn't quite what it seemed.
No, it was his lunch.
Klein admitted later in a series of follow-up tweets that the image was, in fact, a close-up of a slice of chorizo taken against a black background. Here's the quote.
At least he put a black background behind it, not just like his kitchen table or a plate.
True. You know, when you start to see, like Mickey Mouse in the background, you know that it's probably at a kid's party. Here's the quote from him. Well, when it's cocktail hour, cognitive bias seems to find plenty to enjoy.
That's the best way to describe a drunk tweet.
He says, beware of it. According to contemporary cosmology, no object related to Spanish charcuterie exists anywhere other than Earth.
That's a nerd's way of saying, sorry, I drunk tweeted you.
Yeah. After facing a backlash from members of the online community for the prank, he wrote, in view of certain comments, I feel obliged to specify that this tweet showing an alleged picture of Proxima Centauri was a joke. Let's learn to be wary of the arguments from positions of authority as much as the spontaneous eloquence of certain images.
I would never want to have a conversation with this guy. He uses so many big words. Well, just say you got critics and your boss called you up and said, hey, man, take that tweet down.
How about, dear folks, I effed up.
Yeah, I was drunk and I thought it'd be funny. Sorry.
Yeah.
Didn't hurt anybody.
On Wednesday, Klein apologized for the hoax, saying his intention was to urge caution regarding images that seem to speak for themselves. How about I just...
Yeah, I was drunk and I tweeted something.
Yeah, I screwed up.
Yeah.
Nobody
can do that nowadays.
In a bid to make amends, he posted an image of the spectacular cartwheel galaxy, assuring followers that this time the photo was genuine.
Not just a pinwheel sucker or something.
By the way, this was my dessert. I don't know. The Webb telescope, the most powerful telescope ever launched into space, officially began scientific operations on July 12th. It will be able to peer inside the atmospheres of exoplanets and observe some of the first galaxies created after the universe began by viewing them through infrared light, which is invisible to the human eye. Chorizo.
And it's given a reason for scientists to prank people.
Now, I'm going to ask you, Bruiser, just between you and me here, buddy. You see this online and it's, oh, look at that beautiful planet. Can't you see the fat in that?
Yeah, but that could be like clouds or something like that. It looks like a pepperoni. It doesn't look like a chorizo.
It does look like a pepperoni. It doesn't look like chorizo.
But see, now if he was smart, he could have put a little bit of a flaring out. Like he cut the meat a little bit so it flares out a little bit. So it looked like solar flares.
Yeah.
Because it's a star.
Yeah, to me, it doesn't quite look like, I don't know.
I say good on him for pulling showing that scientists get drunk and tweet out dumb stuff too. I don't feel so like left out. Like nerds are doing it with me. I'm okay with it.
Nerds are doing it with me. Love the way you put that. Nerds is doing it with me. Well,
we've all been there where you're drunk. You're like, do I press tweet? Do I press send? The answer is always no. You should never do that.
Yeah,
that's why when you're drinking, put the phone down.
Yeah, true. Very true, very true, very true. But, I still hold out hope that scientists are always humorless and are always sending out the correct information. It's not that they're
humorous. Like, if you look at what that guy said, that's a scientific way of telling a joke. And, like, scientists laughing about it because they understand it. We laugh because we broke it down to layman's terms, where it was just a drunk tweet, not a copious amounts of happy hour, whatever he said. You know what I mean? Like, we broke it down.
Yeah. I hear you.
So they're still not funny until you break it down in layman's terms.
True. Very true. Our next story here, Bruiser, is an audio daily double.
All right.
Yeah. We're going to talk about near-death experiences.
Okay.
Believe it or not, after death, you're aware that you've died, according to scientists.
That's scary.
Yeah, we talked about this a little bit last week. Yeah. Scientists are saying your subjective experience might not end the moment your heart stops. Research on near-death experiences are suggesting this. So we're going to go to the tape right now, and we're going to clear up this issue and see what it is exactly that scientists are saying about the science of near-death experiences.
When I first started looking into near-death experiences back in the late 1970s, I assumed that there would be some physiological explanation for that. What I found over the decades was that the various simple explanations we could think of, like lack of oxygen, drugs given to other people, and so forth, don't pan out. The data do not support them. And furthermore, the phenomena of NDEs, of near-death experiences, seem to defy a simple materialistic explanation. When we first started presenting this material in medical conferences, there would be a polite silence in the audience. And now, in the 21st century, when we do this, it's rare that doctors don't stand up in the audience and say, let me share my experience with you. So it's pretty well accepted now that these are common experiences that people have all the time and that have profound effects. There's still, of course, a lot of controversy about what causes them, but not about the fact that they exist and are fairly common. I'm a professor emeritus of psychiatry and neurobehavioral sciences at the University of Virginia Medical School, and I've recently come out with a book called After. A doctor explores what near-death experiences reveal about life and beyond. Near-death experiences are profound, subjective experiences that many people have when they come close to death, or sometimes when they are in fact pronounced dead. And they include such difficult-to-explain phenomena as a sense of leaving the physical body, reviewing one's entire life, encountering some other entities that aren't physically present, and at some point coming to a point of no return beyond which they can't continue and still come back to life. When they return, they often are profoundly changed by this experience. As I started my psychiatric training, I started being confronted by patients' reports of things that I couldn't explain. One happened to me when I was just a few weeks into my training. I was asked to see a patient who had overdosed in the emergency room. And I was in the cafeteria when the page came in, and I was eating dinner, and the page startled me, and I dropped my fork, spilling spaghetti sauce on my tie. Couldn't wipe it off, so I just covered it over with a lab coat so no one would see it. And then I went down to the emergency room to see the patient, and she was completely unconscious. I could not revive her. But her roommate was waiting to see me down the hall in another room. So I went down to the other room, talked to the roommate for about 15 or 20 minutes, and there was no air conditioning back in the 70s, so I unbuttoned my lab coat so I wouldn't sweat so much, exposing the stain for about 10 minutes or so. I then went back to see the patient. She was still unconscious. When I went to see her in the morning, I introduced myself, and she stopped me and said, "I know who you are. I remember you from last night." That puzzled me, so I said something like, "Well, I'm surprised. I thought you were unconscious when I saw you last night." And she looked at me and said, "Not in my room. I saw you talking to my roommate down the hall." She sensed my confusion, and started to tell me about the conversation I had with her roommate, where we were sitting, what we were talking about, and finally she said, "And you had a striped tie on with a red stain on it." That just blew me away. I didn't know how to deal with that. I couldn't think of any logical reason, any explanation for how she could have known about that spaghetti stain. Nobody had seen it except her roommate, and she hadn't talked to the roommate since she came into the hospital. As a scientist, I knew I had to study this. It didn't make any sense to me. But scientists don't run away from things they don't understand. They run towards them. I never expected to spend so much time looking into near-death experiences. I thought at first it was just a strange anomaly. I'd spend a few years looking at them, find the physiological explanation, and put it behind me. I collected about 1,000 cases that people had sent to me about their own near-death experiences. Quickly realized that the stories I was getting from people who volunteered their stories to me were the same as the ones from people I interviewed in the hospital. We studied the physiological events around the near-death experience, psychological traits of the experiencers, and so forth, trying to find some logical explanation for these events. Most of us are taught that the mind is what the brain does, that all our thoughts, our feelings, our perceptions, our memories are all created by the brain. However, that's not the whole story, and we have hundreds and hundreds of experiences that occur during a cardiac arrest or deep anesthesia when we know the brain is not capable of functioning well enough to create complex thoughts and feelings and memories. Most near-death experiencers say that in the near-death experience, their senses were incredibly heightened, and they often report hearing sounds they'd never heard on Earth and seeing colors that they'd never seen before. And when they come back, they don't know how to describe these things because there aren't words for them to describe them. One person said to me, it's like trying to draw an odor with a crayon. But they talk about their senses being so much more vivid in the NDE, and that gives the experience a sense of being more real than this world is. Most near-death experiencers are pretty much the same around the world and through the centuries. Pliny the Elder wrote about a case like this in ancient Rome in the 1st century. We've gotten examples of near-death experiences from Western Europe, from the Middle East, from Asian cultures, Hindu Buddhist cultures, and from early cultures, Australian Aborigines and Native American societies that sound just like the stories we have today. However, how they describe these phenomena is influenced by their cultural background. For example, people all around the world will talk about encountering a warm, loving being of light that radiates unconditional love towards them. And if you're talking to someone who is raised in the United States, they may identify this as God or sometimes Jesus, whereas someone who is in a Hindu or Buddhist culture will not use those terms. Some of the lessons that near-death experiencers bring back from this event relate to what they find makes life meaningful and fulfilling for them. And the primary thing they talk about is this sense of being interconnected with other people, about how to make this life more meaningful, more purposeful, more fulfilling. I think a reason many people find near-death experiences interesting is because they hold out the promise that will explain to us what the soul is, whether there is an afterlife after our bodies decompose. And I think those are good questions. I don't think that's the most important part of the near-death experience. I think they do tell us something about the possibility of surviving bodily death. But I think the important part of near-death experiences is what they tell us about this life we're in now.
So there you go. Interesting little video about, and a little interesting article about near-death experiences, and that some scientists begin to think that NDEs are caused by reduced blood flow, coupled with abnormal electrical behavior inside the brain, and that stereotypical tunnel of white light might derive from a surge in neural activity.
It was still a cool story because he told that story of the girl and his tie. Like, that blew me away.
Right. And so there's some interesting little scientific tidbits there.
Yeah.
Behind.
Yeah, it's cool that they are able to do this because it's not like you can do research on death. It's not like someone, they're dead for 5 years, come back and go, hey, this is what it was like.
Right. Right.
So this is the closest we can get. And everyone always asks, what happens? when you die, you know?
Yep.
That's gonna be an age-old question forever. So hearing stories like that are cool. Like, you know, that lady, her spirit or her soul or whatever you want to call it left, but wasn't ready to go on.
Yeah. Where do you stand on the whole thing as far as the near-death experience goes? Do you believe you're truly reaching the other side, or do you believe it's a physical effect of the body going through the physical signs of dying?
I think it's a combination of both. I think you like you said, the bright light could be the neurons firing, but you hear so many people saying that their body is outside of their physical body and they see things. Because you've heard of near-death experiences where like, oh yeah, I was hovering over the operating table I was on. Or like this lady said, I was, you know, I heard you talking to my friend, but you were in another room and you had this, you know, spaghetti stain in your tie. Like, I think your body does go through physical stuff, but I think your spiritual side comes out too.
Yeah.
You know, I think it does move on. And like, you know, some ghosts are believed the reason they haunt places because they have unfinished business, you know? Mm-hmm. Well, if you're injured in an accident or, God forbid, you know, someone tries to take your life, you definitely have unfinished business because it's not like you're planning on dying. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. No one plans on dying. I mean, they shouldn't plan on it, but you know what I mean? Like, so if it's taken away from you, I can see your body hovering around because you have unfinished business. You want to know what's going on, and then something pulls you back in.
Yeah.
Where I think with like a terminal illness, you know, you have time to put your affairs in order and whatnot, and then, you know, when you pass, the spirit still stays, but I don't think it's the same as a near death or a sudden death, I guess you could say.
Yeah. I hear you there. Well, I'll tell you one thing. I'm not looking forward to a near-death experience anytime soon. I want to try and remain on this level for a little while at least. I'll give you that.
Oh yeah, I'm not going anywhere. I have too much unfinished business to go anywhere. I don't even want a near-death experience. That would just. But I like how he said that people that have the near-death experience come back and they feel intertwined with humans and they feel more in tune. You know what I mean? Because I think you finally, what's that saying? You don't respect something till it's gone, or you don't appreciate something till it's gone, or it's almost taken away. You know?
Yeah, but okay. Now, my whole thing with that is that almost the holiness you feel from going over to the other side, or almost going over to the other side? Or is that almost a form of PTSD? Is that like the shock of, you know, almost the shock you get after being in a car accident? You know, after you've been through a car accident, do you really want to get back in the car again? You know, you almost have that feeling of your body's been through a huge trauma. I mean, your body's been through a huge trauma, almost, you know, having almost died. You do feel a connectedness to the universe because, my God, you've almost left this earth.
Right.
Know? So you are going to feel like, I don't want to say you feel like you're connected, but you feel like, you know, you almost left this mortal plane. At that point, you are going to feel like, oh my God, I love you. Because you almost died. I'm going to love everybody in the world if I almost died.
Now that I think about it, I do know someone that almost passed, and when he came back was mending fences and doing like you're saying, you know, I love all you. And now this is, I don't know how many years ago, but he's back to being the normal prick that he was. You know, it's like, and I hate to say it too.
Well, no,
it's like,
but
you have
right.
you have this experience that no one else has, and you pull through, and you come back and say all these things about how you want to mend fences and stuff, and then a few years later you just go back to being what, you know what I mean? Like,
right? Yeah.
So I can see what you're saying.
Yeah, and the reason I bring that up, or I say it like that, I guess, is because the idea is you just escaped a huge transition. That transition is you're either here or you're not.
Right.
There's no coming back from that.
Oh, no, yeah. That's like I was saying, they can't do studies on someone who's been dead for 5 years.
Right.
So they come back and go, this is my experience.
So you're grateful. You're grateful for the fact that you're still here. So you got a second chance. And of course you're going to make amends for whatever wrong you've done. You're going to go around and apologize to the people you should have apologized to. You're going to see things differently, and you're going to feel like you're connected to the entire universe at that point, because by God, you've just dodged a bullet, so to speak. But now, like you said with your friend, after a while, okay, I dodged the bullet.
Yeah, you come back to reality.
Yeah, you're like, okay, now I'm feeling
you're human again.
You're 10 feet tall and bulletproof, as Travis Tritt once said. You're walking around and that's not going to happen to me again. Lightning already struck.
Right.
The next time it happens, it's going to happen. There's no coming back. Right. But now you feel like, and this is the thing. I've crossed over that barrier. I've seen what's on the other side. So now I know that I'm going to go somewhere. Mm-hmm. So now you have the guarantee of, well, there's something on the other side. I know that there's a landing spot. I'm cool with the fact that there's an afterlife. So I know I'm fine if I die. And now I can live my life and I feel more connected to people and things are right as rain.
What if they don't experience an afterlife? What if they don't have one of these near-death experiences this doctor is talking about? What if it literally just lights out?
I had one of those.
You did? Okay.
See, when I had...
So you didn't see anything on the other side? There was no white light? There was no...
Exactly. When I had sepsis and I was fading, I mean, Doc said I was within probably about 60 seconds of checking out, but I remember the edges of the room going black, and I remember everything going black, and I don't remember, there was no angel to... And the last thing I remember is the nurse saying, we're losing him. And I remember them counting down my blood pressure, my blood sugar. My blood pressure was almost non-existent, and my blood sugar was non-existent. And I remember them going black. I remember it felt like my eyes were closing, but I don't remember my eyelids closing. And all of a sudden, I remember taking a deep breath and coming back, and the nurse saying, we thought we lost you.
Really?
Yeah. She said,
okay, how about this? Do you think you didn't have the experience because the life you were living up to that moment was, I don't want to say a good life, but it was you weren't, morally you were good. You know what I mean? You hadn't committed any real moral, I'll say, sins. And so something felt like you didn't need that wake-up call. Where some people have the near-death experiences, maybe aren't living the best life before, and that's kind of like a wake-up call. Do you see where I'm going with that? Like, do you think that's why your experience was different than that lady that went into the other room with the doctor? Do you see where I'm going with this? Like,
I don't think I even came close. That's the thing.
You don't think you think it was just a split second? They think they're losing you, but really your body wasn't.
No, I don't
ready.
think I was even close. I don't think because I was fighting so hard. I don't think my spirit even left my body. To be honest with you, I think I had such a tight rein and a tight hold on things. I don't think I left.
Okay, another question I'm going to pose to you is, do you think that's why I'm going to use a wrestling term, but kicked out as fast as you did, is because your spirit never left your body, and your spirit was fighting with your body, where some of these other people, their spirit leaves. So it's just the body now fighting to stay alive. And then when the spirit came back, that's when they kick out and they're back. Do you see where I'm going with this? Like,
yeah.
You have a strong spirit, essentially. Not saying that these other people had experience. I'm not saying that people have near-death experiences don't have a strong spirit. I'm just saying your body and your spirit knew it needed both together to beat what you were going through, instead of your spirit leaving and your body being strong enough so that your spirit can see something. You see where I'm going with that? Like,
Yep. There was a moment, I'll tell you this much. There was a moment, and I remember it clear as day, as I was going out. I remember I had to make a decision. And the decision was this. I was given an option. The option was I could succumb to the darkness, or I could succumb to, because I remember not feeling any pain.
okay.
I didn't feel any pain in my joints. I didn't feel any pain in my back. I didn't feel any pain. That was the first thing I remember. I didn't feel any pain. And I remember subconsciously not just being given an option. You can give in to this or you can fight.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember seeing all my loved ones. And I said, I'm fighting.
Right.
That was it. I'm fighting.
Yeah.
There was no option to me. There was no option.
Right.
So at that point, nope, I'm fighting.
So maybe that brings up a good thing that could be a theory, is that your subconscious actually is your spirit. So you have your mind, which is your thinking brain, which is part of your body, I believe. But then you have your self-conscious, because we all had that. Every day we're faced with stuff where I could steal this, but I know I'll feel guilty because that's your subconscious. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder if your subconscious and your spirit are almost one and the same, where your thinking brain is part of the body. And you had said, because you said subconsciously you had a choice. Maybe that was your spirit going, what do you want me to do? Do you want me to stay here and help you? Or do you want to, you want me to leave?
Yeah.
And you were like, nope, I need you to fight. We're going to fight this. So it never left.
That could be.
Like I just now thought of that. Like your subconscious could be a representation of your soul, because we all battle with subconscious decisions all the time. And we all have that weird sixth sense where there's just not a good feeling about something, or the hair on the back of your neck. And I think that's because our spirit are in tune to the spiritual world, but our body has control on this plane, on this atmosphere.
Yeah.
And I think but the two of them work together to live this life that we're in.
Yeah. Yeah.
And maybe in that moment, like I said, your spirit knew it needed to be there to help your body.
Yeah. Yeah. True. Very true.
Because think about when people suffer trauma and they check out.
Yeah.
Whether it be a car accident, whether it be an assault or whatever, and you've heard it, people check out, so they don't remember what was happening to them. That could be the spirit saying, I got this. I'm in control. I know you can't handle it, body.
True. Very true. Yeah. Or you almost have to, mentally you have to check out so you survive. So at that point, something has to take over so that you survive that experience. True.
Yeah, because you can't just shut your body down. You'll die.
True. Very true. Very true.
And you always hear it with women that survive victims of serial killers that survived. It's like, I don't remember what happened at this point because my body shut down.
Yeah.
No, I think your spirit took over, knowing you physically couldn't take what was going to happen.
True. Very true. That is true. We should move on. We should tell people that, folks, when we come back, we have some interesting stories. We already told you about the James Webb Space Telescope and the chorizo. We made a food comparison as to, is it really the telescope or is it food? Next, we're going to tell you about cryptids. Is it a scary cryptid or a bowl of spaghetti? We've got that and much, much more. It's coming up next here on the best in paranormal podcasting, Darkness Radio. Welcome back to the best in paranormal podcasting. This is Darkness Radio. I'm Tim Dennis. Right over there is Beer City Bruiser. We have an interesting second half of the program coming up. A reminder that at the end of the program, this is kind of like the monster at the end of the book. You remember that book,
yeah.
right?
Yep.
Grover was it turns out he was the monster at the end of the book. This isn't the thing where the not safe for work story at the end of the program ends up just being you and I at the end of the program. It's a little more complex than that. So we'll remind you that there is a not safe for work story at the end of the program. If you are listening to this program in front of small children or easily influenced people at the end of the program.
Or at a workplace where you don't want other people to hear it.
Yes, and you probably want to put on headphones or escort them out of the room or take your device probably, I don't know, to the bathroom. I don't know. Do people do that? I don't know.
I listen to podcasts in the bathroom, but I have headphones in.
There you go. Whatever you got to do in order to, and then just laugh hysterically in the bathroom and people will think, well, what the heck is wrong with Jones over there?
I always look and go, yep, been there, man. Been there.
Exactly. I promised it before the break, and now you're going to get it. Is it a weird deep sea worm, or is it a luminous lump of spaghetti?
I can see it being both.
It could be both. But
just make sure you eat the correct one.
Yeah, well, yeah. Otherwise, you're going to end up with a mouthful of cryptid. A bizarre seafloor creature covered with luminous orange spaghetti-like tentacles recently made its internet debut in newly released video footage. The unusual pom-pom-shaped creature is actually a type of segmented marine worm known as a polychaete. Sure.
Oh, sure. I'll go with it.
And it belongs to an appropriately named group, spaghetti worms. Yay. Spaghetti worms.
Hey, you know what? You use spaghetti as worms every Halloween, Yeah. You go to those weird Halloween, the mom and pop Halloween haunted house and
put your hands in it.
Put your hand in the box, and it's usually spaghetti and peeled grapes and peeled tomatoes and all that, yeah.
Then you end up punching the guy, and he's like, don't punch our characters. And you're like, but you people touched me first. Then you get kicked out, and you can't come back for like a year.
Yeah. I saw somebody get kicked out of the Zach Bacon's Haunted Museum because of that.
Really? They punched somebody?
El Phantasmo from New Japan Pro Wrestling was with us, and they had a little person come running out of a wall to kind of scare you. Where they have the funhouse area when you go through, so El Phantasmo, we were going through there, and a little person came out of the wall, and his instinct was just a super kick.
No.
So he threw a super kick, but the little person stopped. So there was there was a good couple inches, and then the little person sold it and fell backwards and all this, and they were laughing, having a good time, and security came and said, you're not allowed to touch any artifacts, you're not allowed to assault the performer, you're being escorted out. So when we get done, he was a group behind us. I remember walking through the back door, and I'm like, how did you get in front of us? He's like, I got kicked out. And we made nice with the security guy, so he ended up showing us the footage, and you can clearly see he doesn't touch the little person.
Oh my God.
And the little person's like, he didn't touch me, but they have to follow their rules.
He pulled his kick. That's funny.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
So it happens, folks.
Pulled his kick on the performer.
Yep.
Spaghetti worms.
Yes. Back to the spaghetti worm.
Putting your hands in the worms. Okay. So researchers from the Monterey Bay Aquarium Research Institute, or MBARI, captured footage of the pasta mimicking worm in 2012 using a remotely operated vehicle, or ROV, while they were exploring the Gulf of California off the coast of Mexico. So that's where you find the spaghetti worms, evidently.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's funny that they're in a Spanish area, not an Italian area.
I know, right? You would think they'd be off the coast of Spain, somewhere near Italy.
Yeah.
I don't know my geology very well. I don't know that those are even close together.
There's an ocean between them, but that's all right.
It's funny.
There's a marine animal, so it's okay.
Yeah. It's funny they're not off the coast of France, somewhere near Portugal. I don't know.
It's funny they're not off the coast of Arizona.
Yeah. Somewhere near New York. They released the video July 1st on MBARI's YouTube channel to celebrate World Polychaete Day. Sure.
They have their own day? How'd they get their own day?
I don't know. Everybody's got a day, I guess.
I don't even know about these things, this story, so how come I get a day?
Yeah, I don't know. This particular species of spaghetti worm has yet to be officially named, but it belongs to the genus Biremis? Biremis. Biremis.
Beremus.
It has no eyes or gills, and it uses its colorful tentacles to catch the tiny pieces of organic detritus. Yeah, detritus. It's known as marine snow. That cannot be. No. I would not call it marine snow. I'd call it marine dandruff.
Yeah.
Especially
Which
if
is also dry.
Yeah.
Like, are we in SpongeBob now, where we can have fire underwater?
Yeah. It feeds on that, by the way. It feeds on organic dandruff.
But it stays away from the yellow one.
Yeah.
'Cause you never eat yellow snow.
No, you never eat the yellow snow. Most spaghetti worms live in burrows or tunnels below the seafloor and only poke their noodle-like tentacles into the water to snatch up bits of food.
I tried that when I was single. It didn't work.
No? I don't know.
Dangled my noodle in the water.
Yeah. Do you ever get it bit by a walleye?
Yeah, that hurt.
Yeah, I bet.
Ripped it right off.
Yikes. But this Biremis worm spends its life above ground and has previously been observed swimming through the water or crawling along the seafloor to find locations where food is plentiful, according to Mbari. Another group of Mbari researchers first discovered the unnamed spaghetti worm species in 2003 after spotting it in the Gulf of California, using a different ROV. Evidently, I'm going through puberty again. But nearly 2 decades after that initial sighting, scientists are still working toward naming the species. Although giving a species its own name would simply be a simple process, it actually takes a lot of time and dedication to collect specimens, examine key features, sequence the DNA, and assign a specific name, said a lazy Mbari representative.
It's funny. I had to do all that to name my children, too.
Yeah, right? I mean, yeah. They're just lazy over there. Yeah. It's unclear exactly how deep this worm can reside, if you know what I mean.
That's what she said.
Yeah, hey-o. But a majority of sightings have occurred below 6,500 feet beneath the surface, according to Mbari. The spaghetti worm highlights how little scientists know about deep-sea species and the roles that these animals play in their ecosystems. Continued exploration of the deep ocean and creatures that live there is vitally important, especially as many deep-sea ecosystems are being degraded by destructive practices like deep-sea mining and Bruiser sticking his junk in the water. He can get down there a little ways, you know what I'm saying, ladies? He's got a bit of a reach. I'm just saying.
No.
Yeah.
No.
No?
Nope.
No. Not 6,500 feet?
Yeah, it was actually me they were filming. My bad.
Yeah. Is that a spaghetti worm? No, that's Bruiser. He's out there fishing. Just saying.
Yeah.
We'll go on to other.
I'll tell Mrs. Bruiser, hey, call it the spaghetti worm next time.
Call it the spaghetti worm. The Tale of Bruiser and the Spaghetti Worm. That sounds like a kid's book, doesn't it?
It does. Like me, hunting this cryptid spaghetti thing.
Bruiser and the Spaghetti Worm.
Yeah. James. It's a sequel to James and the Giant Peach.
Yeah. Bruiser and the Spaghetti Worm. I think I'm going to write that book. I might make a little bit of cash off that.
There you go.
It's
Pay me some residuals.
It's gonna be in the adults only section, though. Bruiser and the Spaghetti Worm. You know what? We're going to talk a little bit more cryptids. We're going to talk about the most dangerous creatures in the world of the paranormal and why you should avoid them. There's an article in mysteriousuniverse.org that says you should avoid certain creatures. The Nialmo is a huge, dangerous offshoot of the abominable snowman.
The Nialmo?
The Nialmo. Okay. Nyalmo.
Where's he found?
It is, they say it's a huge, dangerous offshoot of the abominable snowman. Bernard Heuvelmans is one of the most important figures within the field of cryptozoology. Said that during the course of his research into the Yeti of the Himalayas, he learned of no less than 3 distinct kinds of creatures that roam the vast mountains. This opinion, said Heuvelmans, was confirmed in 1957 by a Tibetan lama. Lama? Yeah.
A llama told him?
Again, not like the animal.
What's going on, boy? What's going on?
Tell me about the snowman. Yes, you can. Called.
Did that snowman scare you?
Is he scary?
Are you okay?
Yes, he is.
You're scary snowman.
Let me do an impression. Roar, 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 roar.
We're gonna get killed by a Bigfoot one day because we're gonna be camping and you and I are just gonna start making fun of him and he's gonna kill us.
Yeah, it's gonna be. So you think I'm scary, do you?
Oh, look at you! Oh, look at you!
So a Tibetan Lama named Punya Bhaira. Boy, he doesn't sound scary at all.
No, he doesn't.
No, he's a high priest of the monastery at. Is it Budnath? Budnath, who spent
So I thought Dalai Lama was the guy's name.
Mm-hmm.
Lama is just the title, huh?
Yes, Lama is a title.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought it was just the last name.
No. No, his first name's not Dolly like Dolly Parton, and his last name's not Lama.
That's what I thought.
No. Dolly, let's see your tits. No, it's not.
My bad.
Yeah.
You hit that for a living.
No, yeah. So all that beer's going to your head.
It is.
Yeah, no, it's Lama is an actual holy man. Yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry, all the llamas listening. I didn't know.
Who's a cute little llama? Who's a cute one? No, they're high priests. Yeah.
If I ever go to Tibet, I'm just going to walk up to one and do that. Oh, you Bruiser and Cruiser, say hello, llama. Bruiser and Cruiser, say hello.
I'm going to shave you now for your fur. Come here.
You're going to take me up the mountain. You take me up the mountain.
How do I put a saddle on this llama? I need a ride. Yeah. No, they're not. Yeah. They're not rideable. They're holy men. There's a difference. You gotta separate the two.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
These won't spit on me, will they?
Well, they will. They you piss them off enough, they will. They're holy men. They're not. They do have a little bit of an ego, you know.
Peaceful.
Yeah, they're peaceful, but they're not infallible. Just saying. So
take it away from the cryptids. I'm sorry, folks.
Yes, I'm sorry. So Punya Bhaira, a high priest of the monastery at Budnath, who spent 4 months in the high mountains and brought back the surprising but valuable information that the Tibetan mountain people knew 3 kinds of snowmen. There was the Rimi, a man-beast of close to 3 meters in height that dwelled in the Barun Kala Valley in eastern Nepal, and which was specifically omnivorous. Then there was the Rakshi Bampo. Evidently, the Rakshi Bampo was a performer of some sort up in the Catskills. A beast of roughly human proportions, which Heuvelmans said must be the Sherpa's reddish Yeti or Maite, who I believe was married to Prince, which leaves the footprints 20 to 23 centimeters long that the Daily Mail expedition found in such quantity. Finally, there's the imposing and terrifying Nyalmo. Heuvelmans came straight to the point. The Nyalmo are real giants between 4 and 5 meters high with enormous conical heads. He continued, their cone heads. They wander in parties among the eternal snows above 4,000 meters. In such empty country, it is hardly surprising that they should be carnivorous and even man-eating.
That'd be terrifying to see 4 or 5 cone-headed creatures that big walking at you.
Yeah, that's true. It says now on to another dangerous beast. I don't know. The llamas were pretty terrifying. We move on to the Wendigo, which is a very much misunderstood monster, one which is a staple part of the folklore and legend of the Native American tribe known as the Algonquin.
It's my favorite cryptid.
There you go. The monster typically described as a tall, crazed, and violent thing that roams the forests of the Pacific Northwest, the northernmost states of the U.S., and Canada. It is a large humanoid beast that dines on human flesh. There is, however, another aspect of the lore surrounding the Wendigo, namely that if a person eats human flesh, he or she can shapeshift into a Wendigo. Adding to the legend, the Wendigo has the ability to take control of our minds, always for terrible and horrific reasons. In that sense, as well as a shapeshifting angle, there is what we might term a mind-shifting process, too. One of the more intriguing theories for what may have provoked the legends of the Wendigo is that they were based upon early centuries-old reports of Bigfoot encounters. Certainly, there are more than a few reports in which Bigfoot-type beasts have acted violently in the presence of people. There are even reports of people vanishing in the woods and forests in the United States, amid theories that the Bigfoot, when food is scarce, will feed on just about anything, and that includes us.
No.
Yeah.
I didn't know they'd feed on us. So don't go pet a Bigfoot.
Well, you could offer them a beer first, I guess, but yeah, pat them afterwards. Yeah. I mean, you might make friends that way. The next one is the Kushtaka, or the Kushdaha, which sounds like something you would smoke.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is a medicinal cryptid.
I guess so. Is a monstrous, manipulative, and sometimes deadly creature that is a staple part of the folklore of two specific groups of Native Americans living predominantly in the state of Alaska, but also in other portions of the Pacific Northwest coast. Their names are the Tsimshian and the, it looks like Tlingit. The former are known as the people of the tides, while the latter are referred to as being inside the Skeena River, on account of the fact that they once inhabited significant portions of the Skeena River, British Columbia. It is within the teachings of these tribes of people that we learn of the hideous shape-shifting things that provoke mayhem and terror and death within the region. Dennis Waller is one of the leading experts in the field of the Kushtaka, or Kushtaka rather. He notes in the 2014 book, In Search of the Kushtaka, that the word Kushtaka equates to land otter man, which is highly appropriate, taking into consideration that this is precisely how the Kushtaka is described. It is important, however, to note that the creature is not literally half human and half otter. Thank God.
It's a were-otter.
The were-otter.
I don't know how that could be terrifying. Otters are the cutest animals ever.
They really are, yeah. Rather, it can take on both forms, but things don't end there. The Kushtaka could also manifest itself in the shapes of giant wolves.
Oh.
And very often bipedal upright wolves, and also large hairy humanoids, not at all unlike Bigfoot. In the Bigfoot-seeking community, Waller observes that this has given rise to the thought-provoking theory that Kushtaka may well be an Alaskan Bigfoot, one which over time has been incorporated into native lore and legend. On the other hand, however, and as Waller also notes, for the Tsimshian and the Tlingit, the creatures are monsters with the power to morph. In that sense, the jury is very much out when it comes to their true identities. Keep away from these monsters, it's warned. You may not survive a close encounter with them.
How are we supposed to know what it is? Like, it has all those different forms. It's not like you can walk up and go, "Are you a Kushtaka?" They'd be like, "Ah, yes." And you go, "Okay, well, I got to run away now."
I'm an otter wolf. Can't you tell?
I'm a big otter wolf man.
Yeah, exactly. Of the many and varied shapeshifters that populate our world, there's no doubt that the most feared and dreaded of all are the jinn. They are extremely dangerous and manipulative entities that can take on various forms and just as they see fit. It's ironic that the jinn in reality is such a feared and powerful creature. The irony stems from the fact that popular culture and the world of entertainment have collectively dumbed down the nature, power, and dark characters of the jinn.
Yeah, if you look up the actual jinn of yesteryear, they're terrifying creatures.
Yes. Yes, they are.
Everyone says, "Oh, magic lamp with the genie," and you go, "No, go back and read about the djinn. You don't want that genie."
Yeah, exactly. This is very much a result of the production of the likes of the 1960s TV show I Dream of Jeannie and the 1992 Disney movie Aladdin. There is, however, nothing amusing or lighthearted about the real jinn. They're the ultimate shape-shifting nightmares, and they will do all they can to get their claws into us, particularly so if we are reckless enough to invite or invoke them. It asks, why are the jinn so tied to us, the human race? Well, unfortunately, the late Rosemary Ellen Guiley offered the following, which is undeniably worrying. Rosemary said, they can eat human food when they take human form, but our food does not sustain them. It gives them pleasure. They can absorb the essence of food and things like the molecules from tobacco smoke, which provide them enjoyment. Their main source of nourishment is the absorption of energy from life forms. The best is the draining of a soul, but is difficult to do and is considered unlawful. It is, however, practiced by certain powerful renegade jinn. The vampiric absorption of the life force can be quite detrimental to people and cause health problems. There you have it. For the jinn, we are a source of food, but that is not all. The jinn clearly enjoy taunting and tormenting us too. Sometimes this can be to a mild degree and even relatively innocuous in nature, with jinn moving items in the home of their target and placing them in other rooms. This is an issue that mirrors the odd antics of the so-called tricksters like elementals, who enjoy manipulating us, chiefly from their own warped amusement. More often than not, however, the jinn display highly dangerous activity that very often begins with disrupting electrical equipment, everything from microwaves to refrigerators, computers to telephones, and electric lights to ovens. Sometimes a jinn will perform a favor for its target, which is specifically where the concept of the genie or the three wishes derived its origin, but it almost always is a favor that backfires, leaving the person in far worse state than before the jinn ever manifested. Far more disturbing, the jinn can cause a person to fall sick, and typically dangerously so, even to die. Paranormal infection is very often the name of their grim game. Beware, equally dangerous are what can accurately be termed supernatural seducers, dangerous entities that thrive on sexual energy, such as orgone energy, as theorized and documented by Wilhelm Reich, are also part of the equation. A highly charged sexual dream may be deliberately initiated by such things, which over the centuries have been referred to as incubus or succubus, Lilith, and the old hag. As relevant to this angle is the reason why so many supernatural encounters occur at so-called lovers' lane locations. In these cases, voyeurism and sexual emotion lead to feeding. It also goes on to mention poltergeists, which we've talked about in the past, as one of the other things to look out for. And of course, we're familiar with poltergeist, and it also mentions Slender Man in the real world, which is a perfect example of a modern day tulpa, or a thought form in our reality. And we've dealt with that and talked about that as well. They talk about the Men in Black fall into the category, which have had UFO encounters and have been visited by the pale-faced ghouls, known as the MIB, state that while being threatened and intimidated by the Men in Black, they've felt cold, clammy, weak, and lightheaded. People that have been visited by the MIB, as many of the unfortunate witnesses have stated, it's as if the MIB are draining them in the same way that a flashlight drains a battery, which is interesting in itself. So
if you ever want to see a really good episode of Supernatural, which is a fantastic TV show, the Jinn episode is really good. That's where you learn a lot of the history of the Jinn and how dangerous they really are.
Yeah, most definitely.
You know, would the MIBs, would they be classified as like the black-eyed kids? Almost the same? Because it's almost the same feelings you get, right?
It kind of, no, they're different though. MIB is not something that, you know, they ask for permission to be let in and all that other stuff. And
they don't, okay.
Yeah, with black-eyed kids, they ask for permission to be let in. People are never heard from again.
Yeah.
That give that permission. I mean, they're a little different phenomena.
Okay.
Yeah. New article, new study. NASA is seeking the science behind UFOs. They're finally delving into the research, and although it's modest in scope, a NASA research project is reflecting shifting attitudes towards the formerly taboo subject of UFOs. On June 9th, with only a few hours' notice, NASA held a press conference to announce a study that it was commissioning on unidentified aerial phenomena. The acronym UAPs, rather, the acronym is a rebranding of what are more popularly known as unidentified flying objects, or UFOs. A topic is usually associated with purported extraterrestrial visitations and government conspiracy theories. The question on the public's mind was why one of the U.S. premier scientific agencies was getting involved in something often considered to be at the farthest fringes of respectability. Yet the pronouncement also fit with the suddenly more open-minded zeitgeist regarding UAPs. Last year saw the publication of a much-anticipated report on the Department of Defense's own investigations into the subject, following the release of first-person accounts and videos from U.S. fighter pilots claiming to show encounters with strange objects in the sky. High-profile coverage in mainstream media and open congressional hearings about UAPs have kept the matter circulating in the public realm. A month after the Pentagon's report came out, theoretical astrophysicist Avi Loeb, former chair of Harvard University's astronomy department, announced a private initiative called the Galileo Project, which is aimed at searching for potential evidence of alien technology here on Earth. What NASA can bring to the discussion is as yet unclear. The agency has set aside a slim $100,000 for the 9-month study, less than the typical funding it provides for exploratory studies of unconventional technologies, such as space telescopes with kilometer-scale mirrors or interstellar probes propelled by giant laser beams, helmed by the well-respected Princeton University astrophysicist David Spergel. The investigation intends to identify existing and future data sets that scientists could use to advance their understanding of UAPs. Even if it uncovers little of interest, the study's existence suggests that something the agency once avoided talking about at all costs, wrong emphasis on the wrong syllable, is on the cusp of becoming an appropriate topic of inquiry. There's no question you have a lot more voices in scientific and academic circles who are willing to be public and say this is a legitimate enterprise, says Greg Agigian. That's an interesting last name. A historian at Pennsylvania State University who is writing a book about UFO sightings. NASA's unexpected UAP announcement is perhaps a bit less surprising in hindsight. The agency's current administrator, former astronaut and Senator Bill Nelson, told reporters last year that he was sure U.S. pilots who reported mysterious encounters saw something and their radars locked onto it. The Office of the Director of National Intelligence and Office of Naval Intelligence officials behind the Pentagon's UAP task force had previously spoken about involving multiple branches of government in their investigations. Agigian says NASA was one of the agencies mentioned, he went on to add, yet exploring enigmatic incursions into American airspaces arguably makes more sense as a project for the military than one for a civil space agency. After all, these unidentified objects, if they exist, may be terrestrial in origin, perhaps constituting evidence of advanced Russian or Chinese aerospace technology rather than anything from beyond Earth. NASA's study is aimed at categorizing data from Earth-observing satellites and other monitoring instruments that may have picked up some sliver of information relevant to such phenomena to see if there's anything whatsoever the agency can say about their nature. NASA already collects extensive information about the atmosphere using a suite of orbiting probes such as Terra, Suomi National Polar Orbiting Partnership, and CloudSat, any of which have picked up incidental data that could help identify UAPs. Thomas Zurbuchen, went on to say that we have the tools and team who can help us improve our understanding of the unknown. In an official statement, he also went on to say that's the very definition of what science is, and that's what we do. Very interesting.
I'm curious how many of those Earth-pointing satellites do catch something they can't explain. And now that everything's becoming more public, I wonder when they're going to release that information.
It's a good question. Very good question indeed.
Because you know they pick it up. They have to. I mean, that's what they're pointing at the Earth for, you know?
Yeah. Well, on occasion, I'm sure they do pick something up, but I'm sure it's easily dismissible as well.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. A few more stories left on today's Supernatural News show in Parashare. Oh, by the way, we do have a Parashare today.
Oh, okay.
We should probably get to that, shall we?
Yes.
Want to do that now?
Yes, I love Parashare.
We could do that now if you'd like to. Let's see here. Let's pull up Parashare. By the way, if you have a story that you would like to relay to us, whether you've had an experience with a ghost, whether you have had an experience with Bigfoot, maybe you've seen a UFO, you can just type up a nice little email to Bruiser and myself. You can send it to tim@darknessradio.com. Share your experience with us, and we will repeat it right here on air. And if you'd like us to weigh in on it, just ask us to do so. And we will do so right here on air. This one starts out, hey there, Cruiser and Bruiser. I've been listening now since about 2014. I've had an experience a few years back. When I'm by myself, I'll have different things happen when spirits are trying to communicate with me. This was one of the first times that I was not alone. I was at my mom's place, used to be her mom's place. We were all together for a holiday. My dad was watching TV in the front room. My mom and brother were talking in the kitchen. I in the spare bedroom, lightly dozing. I could hear my brother and mom talking. I don't fully remember the conversation. Somehow they got the attention of my grandma. There was a TV on a cabinet with a pedestal cake dish on top of the TV. Cake dish came off the TV, went straight out about 2 feet before it dropped. It did not just topple off the TV.
Yeah.
Wow. Huh.
Yeah, 2 feet's a ways.
Yeah, it is. Since I've been able to communicate with spirits, my mom asked me what that was all about. All I got was my grandma wanted their attention and no more info after that. I think grandma made a splash there. It says, take care, John Bear. So,
yeah.
Interesting, John.
Yeah, it is. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
I can picture perfectly the platter, what he's talking about.
Yeah.
And then I just see it literally sliding, staying upright, dropping, and crashing.
And then boom. Well, I guess grandma knows how to get attention. That's for sure. And I'm glad
grandma wanted all the attention on her.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad grandma got the attention. That's for sure. I mean,
I bet you that's why the activity stopped, just because they paid attention to her.
That's right.
But when you make a loud enough splash like that, you know what I mean? Like,
yep.
That's not a tap on the shoulder.
No,
you know,
no.
That's not a, hey, I'm right here.
That's grandma putting her foot down. That's for sure.
Yeah,
or putting the cake down, one or the other. Yeah. Hey, I love food. If grandma throws a cake down, I'm paying attention.
Me too. My grandma made good cake too.
Yeah, mine as well. Yeah. Huh. I got a story here that says that a 3-inch shrunken head is real and that a centuries-old South America... No, don't get this wrong, kids. It's not a Santa. It's a Sansa.
Sansa. Okay.
Sansa.
Sansa. That's Santa's brother, right?
Right, exactly. Is sitting in a Canadian museum, and it's from a human. The head is from a human, the shrunken head, and the Canadians have it.
Why does everybody think shrunken heads are such a mystery? Like that, it's a common thing that it used to happen back in the day with those tribes. You know, I know there's a lot of fakes out there now, and you can't really sell human ones. I don't think. I think it's illegal.
Well, it says the head was donated to a museum in the 1940s, but it wasn't known if it was real. Commercial Sansas are often made from the skins of animals like pigs and sloths. So,
right, yeah.
Yeah. So,
like if you go to New Orleans, they have a bunch of those. And it's like horsehair and then like pig skin or something.
Yeah. So you don't buy real human heads, but this one's a real human head.
No, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
well, it's in a museum, so good for them.
And the Canadians own it.
Hey?
Eh? You want to see a
They're
real
polite to
shrunken
let
head?
us see it.
What's that?
They're polite to let us see it.
Yeah, you want to see my shrunken head? New CT scans show the 3.3-inch shrunken head. Hey, it's cold out there in Canada. That's why it's so small. Donated to a museum in Canada in the 1940s is genuine. It was once the head of a Peruvian Indian woman. Oh, that poor woman.
Aw.
Yeah. Researchers say hair shafts can be seen to pierce the upper layer of skin in precisely the same way as human hair follicles are embedded in the dermis. Shrunken heads, or sansas, are cultural artifacts that were produced by certain indigenous cultures of Ecuador and Peru around the middle of the 20th century. It was believed that sansas contain the spirit and knowledge of the individual from whom they were produced, and so they were thought to hold supernatural powers that could be conferred to the owner. However, some convincing counterfeit shrunken heads made from animal body parts or other alternatives often are used in commercial reproductions, and they make it hard to distinguish the real from the fake. Commercial sansas were often made from animal skins, including pigs, monkeys, and sloths. Using clinical computed tomography, or CT, and high-resolution micro-CT scans, researchers were able to determine the sansa currently held in the collection at Chatham Kent Museum in Chatham, Ontario, is in fact a real human remain. CT scans produce two-dimensional images of a slice of a body or body part, which are then collected and layered to construct three-dimensional images. This technique really redefines archaeology because traditionally archaeology can be aggressively destructive, says Lauren September Poeta. That's a heck of a name, Lauren September Poeta.
That's a very, very, very hectic name.
Yeah, at Western University. Digital Archaeology, which is the name of my new album, included computed tomography. It provides a whole new dimension of validity and refreshes the field by making it far less invasive. Researchers don't know how old the Chatham Sansa is, although they say it likely dates back several centuries. Typically crafted by men in an elaborate multi-step process, Sansas were made from the cranial skin of enemies slain in combat. How? The gruesome process, get this, Bruiser, involved making an incision at the back of the head, peeling the skin and hair off the skull, and soaking them in hot water and hot sand.
Okay.
It wasn't an easy process.
No, it wasn't.
But you know,
it wasn't what they showed in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
No.
He just left the faces out.
Yeah. It's thought that Sansas were created as early as the 1500s to trap the soul inside the remains as the eyes and mouth were sewn shut.
I want to say Ed Gein had a couple real shrunken heads.
By shrinking the head of a fallen enemy, the victor was believed to harness their spirit for servitude and prevent the soul from avenging the enemy's death. Nice guys.
That's a good way to get rid of a haunting.
Yeah.
You shrink it down.
Sansas were used in ceremonial rituals in which power of a given shrunken head could be transferred to a household. Oh, good deal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Following the ritual, the supernatural power was regarded to have left the shrunken head, at which point the Sansas itself originally became nothing more than a keepsake. However,
I thought you were going to say a keychain.
Yes. Yes. Look at my new keychain, everybody.
Boop, boop.
I keeps my house keys on it. However, the influence of European and colonial visitors in the 19th century saw post-ceremony Sansas acquire a commercial value with their owners willing to trade them away.
Of course.
Of course. That's
Here's something creepy we can take back to the homeland.
Exactly. All right. Last two stories of supernatural news. And these are not safe for work. I'm going to declare this right now. Get the kids away from the listening devices. Tell your coworkers to blow it out their ass.
This is Darkness Radio After Dark.
That's right, Darkness Radio After Dark. The first one, Bruiser, you might be wanting to tell your coworkers to blow it out their ass, but literally now you can breathe through your ass thanks to mice and pigs.
Oh, I can't wait to learn how to do this. This is going to be a good party trick.
Do you remember the South Park episode where Cartman swore he could, what was it? He could eat through his ass?
I think that was it, yeah.
Yeah, wasn't that what it was?
I think so. I'm not too caught up on South Park since the first couple seasons.
Eat through his rectum rather than, and then he pooped out his mouth. Do you remember
backwards?
That? It was backwards. They did the backwards thing. In what sounds like a South Park episode, Japanese scientists have developed a procedure that allows lab animals to breathe out of their rectum.
Who thought this was a good idea? Like, hey, you know what'd be great? What if we could breathe out of our ass?
I have no idea.
What happens if you fart?
Well,
like,
that's breathing out.
Yeah, but then you have to suck it back in. Now the smell just gets too fat. Well, you can't smell, you're breathing, so I don't know.
It just means you shove mints up there to smell better. I don't know. There's no teeth to brush.
That's a whole new meaning, this bad breath.
Yeah. You just throw a little mouthwash up there and you're good. God, that would burn.
Oh, a mouthwash enema, essentially.
Yes. Yeah.
So would you be vomiting when you poop?
I guess. Ugh.
I wonder if they have to hold their breath to evacuate their bowels.
Yeah, maybe.
Or the Japanese forget you have to do that.
I think they forgot that whole entire step. In a new study published last week, scientists using an enema of oxygen-carrying liquid proved that oxygen-deprived animals and maybe people can be saved via their bottoms.
I am not performing CPR on anybody if that's the way I got to do it.
A little ass
breathe, damn it, breathe.
A little ass-to-mouth resuscitation.
You never go ass to mouth. Little Clerks 2 reference.
Quick. We need to save this person's life. Does anybody know how to toss a salad?
Quick, we have to perform CPR. Why are you removing his pants? Just go with it.
Just go with it. According to the New York Times, Dr. Takanori Takebe
AKA Dr. Freaky.
Dr. Tongue of the Tokyo Medical and Dental University.
Of course he is.
And the Cincinnati Children's Hospital Medical Center. You keep him away from children.
Keep away.
You are not getting near children, sir.
I got to incubate. Quick, give me the lube.
Started alternative oxygen delivery research during his father's struggle with lung disease. Oh, Daddy, bend over.
I'll save you, Daddy.
I'll save you, Daddy. I've always felt I needed to blow it up Dad's ass.
It's a whole new colonoscopy procedure then, isn't it?
I guess. Well, ventilators are helpful, Dr. Takebe said. They're not always available and can break.
So, his natural progression was sticking something up someone's ass.
What are you doing to that ventilator?
Attaching it to asses, obviously. Now, Tim, we don't want you sitting right now. You're on the ventilator.
That's not where the ventilator goes, doctor. We clearly need different strategies to help out patients with severe lung failure.
Agreed, but why go right to the rectum?
Rectum damn near killed him. Through his trials, Takebe did what sounds like a reverse fart.
Dr. Freaky. So he put a fart back in.
He pumped oxygen up the rectums of anesthetized, oxygen-deprived mice. The procedure would have been too painful and not useful for humans, as the mice intestines had to be scraped first. Can you imagine?
Can you imagine, like, you know those little pumps you got with bicycle tires? That you could pump up, like, your basketball with or your bicycle tire? Like, they just sticking that up the mouse's ass.
Hold on, little buddy!
Watch out, he's going to blow!
Poor Mickey.
No, that was Minnie. Mickey's okay.
Oh, good. So Takebe and his team started to look into whether the intestines could absorb oxygen and began squirting an oxygen-packed liquid into the rectums of mice and pigs who have been induced into oxygen-deprived hypoxia. Because, grants are plentiful, evidently.
NASA can only give $100,000 for UAP research, but you know what? Breathing out of the butts, here's billions. I can't wait to get the new scuba gear.
Yeah. The mice started walking around again. The pale skin of the anesthetic
just shot liquid up their ass. They're probably going, I gotta go.
Energy. You just got a liquid oxygen enema. Of course you're running around. The mice started walking around again. The pale skin of the anesthetized pigs turned a healthy pink, the Times reports.
Okay.
They're completely recovering from the very, very severe hypoxia, Takebe wrote in the paper. That was really astonishing to me. You oxygen starved them, then you gave them an oxygen enema. Of course they're running around. Because
he's single. He's single.
You know he is. Yeah. He's basically doing autoerotic asphyxiation in the closet at home in between work shifts.
He's just taking the vacuum, turning it on blow, and sticking it up his ass while he strangles himself.
Jonathan Mark Wilson, a biologist at Wilfrid Laurier University in Waterloo, Canada, said, "What kind of shit are you telling me here?" He told the Times he doesn't know of any animals that literally inhale air through their bottoms.
Because scientist is like throwing him under the bus. Like, listen here, you sick freak.
Do the shit on your own time.
My father suffers from COPD. I'm going to pitch this to him. Like, Dad, I found a new way to help your lungs. How's that? Bend over.
Dad, liquid oxygen in your ass. What do you think? But turtles spend the winter sitting on the bottom of a pond, never coming up for air, and survive by taking in oxygen from the water via their rear ends. Mimicking such a process in mammals makes a lot of sense, John Mark Wilson, who then took a hit off a bong, went on to say. Dr. Caleb Kelly, who wrote an accompanying study for Takebe, conceded the concept is fascinating, quote unquote, and possibly feasible, but odd.
Yeah.
It's kind of a startling idea to use that part of human anatomy for gas exchange, he told the Times. Yeah.
So that means if you're underwater, to get air in, you just got to suck water up to your ass and then breathe it out and suck it up your ass and breathe it out.
This is one of the reasons we wanted you to get the kids away from the listening device or your boss. The other reason you might want to get your boss away from the listening device.
Is this our full circle story?
For a full circle story. The other thing that might end up going up your ass is a woman that says there's no rest for her partner as he gets 100 erections each and every day.
Good for him. I'm getting older. I understand. Good for that gentleman.
Good for that. Did I just hear Mrs. Bruiser yell what in the background?
Yeah.
What? 31-year-old Vicky, who's a healthcare worker and is carrying a stick around to hit it like a piñata, claims
like a diving board.
Claims Lucas finds her so attractive that he gets up to 100 of the big bangers a day, and in every setting imaginable.
Look, sweetie, it's not just you. It's also the microwave, the oven, the caracal cabinet, the TV.
Driving by a cave.
A small breeze.
That he gets one from going to shops to sitting at home watching TV to any reason, really. He's at attention for any reason. A woman has said that her boyfriend gets up to 100 erections every day in every situation imaginable, and there's nothing she can do to curb his rampant libido. 31-year-old Vicky Brown and 39-year-old, he's 39.
He's 39. Good for him.
Lucas Martins is his name. In a Morrison supermarket during the COVID lockdown in 2020 is where they met. They instantly hit it off. Can't imagine how.
He bumped into her before he arrived.
I guess. And now they're in a committed relationship. They live separately. I can't imagine why now.
Well, his body lives separately. His little guy there all the time.
Right, yeah. But they see each other often. But there's a catch. Vicky says there's no rest from Lucas's constant boners. I put that word in there.
Ear boner.
Ear boner. She said that anything can set him off, and he can be aroused in any setting, whether it's at home watching a film or out doing the groceries. Well, he's not doing the groceries, but you know. And now
get a dozen eggs. Yeah, that's it. That's it. Get a dozen eggs. Gallon of milk. Oh yeah, gallon of milk. Get that gallon of milk.
Look at that celery stalk. It's as hard as I am.
Hello, little Debbie.
Hello, little Debbie. And now she's at her wit's end.
Of course.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't. I'm wondering, does he need to have sex right away, or is it just he's just bumping into things?
I think he's just the north end of a compass all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not really his libido; it's just his little soldiers at attention.
Yeah, I think it's just good blood flow, pretty much.
Good for him.
Look at you. You are an advocate for him.
Yeah, I am. I'm getting older.
As I did that, I stuck my fist out like
I saw that.
like I was at attention. Vicky, a healthcare worker, said from the beginning until now, wherever we are, he can have an erection. It's up to 50 to 100 times a day.
I can't wait to see him on America's Got Talent. Oh, what's your talent? Well, Simon.
Watch this. We only have to be sat watching a film, says Vicky, walking down the street or going to a friend's for coffee. Oh, boy. And he's got an erection. Sometimes it's embarrassing, but he just laughs about it. Ha, 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 ha. Look, I did it again. Vicky is...
It's my schlong.
Look, honey, he came out to say hi.
Do you think he goes... Now, Tim, you've heard this before. Do you think he goes, my eyes are up here, ladies. My eyes are up here.
I would hope he would. Yeah.
Men of all kind have been waiting to say that to women.
That's right. My eyes are up here.
He's our knight. He's I'm doing it now. I can't.
You're sticking your fist out like that, too. I'm more than what's between my legs, ladies. Vicky had previously been single for a number of years after ending her relationship with her children's father when she met Lucas.
Well, that's romantic.
Who now has a small baby between his legs. The couple who are overseas are from Stoke-on-Trent, who's now stoking a Trent between his legs. Met when they were both in Morrison's during lockdown in 2020, and Lucas called Vicky beautiful after seeing her in the queue or in line.
Oh, how romantic. Then he tapped her on the shoulder, but he was still an aisle back.
That's true. He tapped her on the shoulder from 3 people back. Yeah. Despite turning him down when he first asked her out.
Well, yeah, that's got to be creepy. Like a dude walks up and he's already all ready to go. And, oh, you're very beautiful.
Keeps trying to push it down when he's talking to her.
Lucas, the sweatband, like how you used to pull it up and put your sweatpants band over it to make sure it didn't move.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we all hit puberty.
Yeah. Lucas eventually won Vicky around, and they ended up going on a date together. Since then, they've been together for 2 years, and despite living separately, they see each other regularly. She says his constant desire for the boom boom cuts into her own time. Oh, poor you.
Aw, she just wants to do the crossword puzzle.
That's right. And she struggles to keep up with chores and appointments while meeting her amorous boyfriend's desires.
She can say no.
Not again. She bends over to pick up her keys and, what's that?
Hello.
Despite mentoring the matter to a doctor, or mentioning the matter to a doctor, she mentored to a doctor as well.
This guy really needs to get a hand on it.
I guess, maybe a couple. Despite mentioning the matter to a doctor, he has been told it's not a medical issue. See?
Yeah.
And says
Just wait 10 years, he'll have a problem.
He claims this has never happened before meeting Vicky.
I don't believe that.
I guess not.
Maybe he's just now hitting puberty. Because I mean, think about when you hit puberty, when men hit puberty, anything sets it off. That 12 to 14 age, like anything sets it off. You know, so I think he's going through that now.
Okay, well, wait a minute. Okay, so here's what Vicky says. Vicky says, we actually met in Morrison's. I was in my uniform with wet hair and a mask on. And as we were queuing up, he walked around the corner with a massive piece of filet steak in his basket and said, wow, aren't you beautiful? She's got a mask on. How do you know?
I don't know.
We got speaking and I turned down 3 coffee dates at the start because I was so happy being on my own. We would never have met unless we bumped into each other in Morrison's.
And really, who wants to go on a coffee date? Like, hey, let's go to a place where we're just getting stuff that's going to make our breath stink and have to poop in 10 minutes.
That's a good point. Through the whole relationship, he's always had an erection, she said, in shops, restaurants, the gym. There's no rest from it all.
Oh, that would bug me if I was in the gym and he was walking around like that. Like, hey, man.
Hey, settle down. It's not that exciting to be here.
Good for you, Tiger.
That's right. You can't be that excited to bench press. There's no rest from it all, and I just wondered if any other couples are the same.
We wish.
Right. You know what'll get it down? Just let her nag him a little bit.
I was going to say, yeah. I know how to.
And then...
Yeah. I can send people over to get that going.
Mrs. Bruiser isn't in the room right now, is she?
And she listens, so I'm paying attention to my words. I never said that.
There you go.
So I can send someone.
There you go. In bed, it's the same, Vicky says. He can go to sleep with an erection and wake up with one, even though he does night shifts. There's no change in it at all. It's every single place we are. We can be having a perfectly normal everyday conversation like, shall we go and climb this mountain next weekend? And he has an erection. Well, you just said go climb the mountain.
Yeah,
I mean, that's suggestive, right? I'm doing
I
the
got your walking stick. Let's do this.
See, I got your walking stick right here. See, you even drew the parallel. Yeah. She says, I can come down the stairs and walk past the glass door and be in the next room and it still happens. Well, that's because you're behind glass.
Yeah.
Huh?
You're checking all the boxes for him.
Yep. I've spoken to him about it and he always believed in good intercourse with his woman and wife-to-be. He says it will bring the relationship closer. And I do believe that too. And he just wants me all the time. Well, how is that bad?
I was going to say, why is she complaining?
Yeah. At least he's got his eyes on you. He's not like, oh, yeah, babe, whatever, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, at least it's her. It's not like he sees a lemon and it pops up, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it's her.
Yeah. Lucas, who works in management, said, it just seems to be natural. I've got a wonderful woman next to me. She's a goddess. She only needs to look at me and speak to me, and I get hungry for it. Well...
Good for you.
What's wrong with it then?
Good for you.
When we first started, I said I'm happy with one as long as we get on in all aspects, we'll be fine. And after a year, when most couples would die down, months and years go by and we get hungrier for each other. Well, okay, success story. There you go.
Yeah. Yep. This is a success story.
Yeah. He says if that pheromone and testosterone just link together correctly, I can easily come to bed and look at Vicky and have an erection. I fall asleep with one and wake up with one. Well, God love you, man.
Yep. Chemical attraction. Good for you.
Yep.
Chemical soulmates.
You found your one. There you go.
Yep. Exactly. Well, two, her and his.
Well, it sounds like he found his one. She's wanting to run for the hills. I don't know.
Well, you know what? She doesn't have one, so she doesn't know if it's normal. Like my wife's asked me questions. If she sees something, she's like, "Is that normal?" And it's like, "Why you ask?" Oh, that's right. You don't have one.
I don't know. Is that? I don't know. Is that weird? I mean, you know what? There are, but there are couples that have different attraction levels. Like,
Yeah.
like the guys.
Yeah, you're not always on the same page.
Yeah.
You go back and forth.
Yeah.
But I know, like, I'm assuming most women are curious as how that works because they don't have one. Where we had it our whole life. you know, like,
I don't know.
We know what, like we've done our research on it.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just that way. Maybe guys are just more attracted to the women in their lives. I don't know. And then you know what happens is we get browbeaten, and before you know it, we're in a corner of the yard throwing a ball.
Yeah, exactly.
Then we don't want to hear it anymore. It all goes back to yesterday's conversation.
Yes, it does.
We're throwing a ball, we're working on an engine, and then before you know it, you successfully have gotten rid of us.
Yeah, I know. If mine got erect that much, I get yelled at. Again? Come on!
What the hell's the matter with you? See, and then you browbeat us, and then before you know it, you're like, what's the matter with him? I don't understand. He doesn't talk. He's not attracted to me. There's something wrong with him. He's broken. That's right. You broke us. Congratulations.
Yes.
See how that works? And then before you know it, we're out seeing ghosts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with it.
Yeah. And then here we are. We're on the show.
Without 100 erections a day.
That's right.
That would be tiring.
Would it?
That would be I think I'd get tired after a while.
You know what would happen? All the blood would drain out of your head. You need a nap. Wouldn't you?
I'd have to nap.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know this much. His blood pressure's got to be either amazing or off the charts.
I was going to say, something's going on with the heart. They got to check his heart.
Yeah. Yeah, he's got to have high blood pressure. I got to think.
Yeah. You definitely.
Yeah. There's something wrong there. Well, that'll do it for today's show. I tell you, we're setting records lately for show length. I think we got to start cutting that back a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know. You guys tell us. Tim@darknessradio.com. You like the longer show lengths? We'll keep going. We'll give you that. That's for sure.
Hey, we're having fun.
Yeah, that's for sure. Tomorrow's show, we're going to talk about ghosts either way. I tell you, it's an embarrassment of riches lately. We've had lots of guests step up lately.
Yeah.
So we're going to have a choice tomorrow. But either way, it's going to be ghosts. We're either talk about ghosts of the UP or we'll be talking about ghosts of the Civil War.
Oh, both great ghosts. Civil War, I'm more curious for. Both are good ghosts.
Yeah. So I know this much. We've got Michigan Paracon coming up in a couple of weeks. I'll be at Michigan Paracon. I'll be speaking on Friday. Tickets are still available. SaultStemarie.com. It's SaultStemarie.com. Get your tickets right now. I'll be speaking Friday with Tim Weisberg. We'll be talking about the strange, the creepy, and the silly. So it'll be stories throughout the years of my broadcasting career and Tim Weisberg's broadcasting career. We'll be getting together and doing a talk together on Friday morning. That Friday, by the way, is also your boy's birthday. So,
happy birthday, sir.
Yeah, so Friday the 26th of August, I'll be selling my birthday. Yes, I'll be selling NFTs of my birthday. I'll be celebrating my birthday with you guys. So we'll be doing it at Michigan Paracon. We'll be having a fun time.
I'll make sure I drop you a message.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So celebrating my birthday the way I love to each and every year by being either at the Minnesota State Fair and golfing or with you guys at Michigan Paracon. This year I choose to be with you guys at Michigan Paracon. So we're going to hang out and have a good time and talk about some of the stranger, creepier, and sillier things that have happened throughout the 16 years of doing this show. So That is going to be in 2 weeks out there at Michigan Paracon. But tomorrow we're talking ghosts right here on the program. Bruiser, tell us what's going on in your world here in the next few weeks.
I am training currently at the AML Wrestling Training Center, having a blast doing it. On the Saturday the 13th, I'm in Springfield, Missouri, making my return to Missouri. Going to get some barbecue, have some good time.
Ooh.
August 20th, I'm in Bristol, Tennessee. Very excited to go back to Tennessee. I'm really excited about that. And then the weekend you're at the Michigan Paracon, I'm actually in Kansas City for one of those days, and then I'm back here in Salisbury, North Carolina. So
nice.
Full month. Nice. Yep, took a full month, have a little bit lighter month next month. Because like I told you, I've been doing those urban legends around here, and I found a couple places I wanted to go and investigate. And I convinced Mrs. Bruiser to go with me, and we're just going to go see what we can see. And I'll report back to everybody here.
Nice. Yeah, I was going to say, I mentioned it before, but I'll mention it again. Next year at Michigan Paracon, I'm hoping to get you out there with me. So I think next year for Michigan Paracon, I think it'll be the Cruiser and the Bruiser. We'll have, I think the two of us will go out there. And
that'll be fun. I would love to meet our fans. So yeah. I know a couple are coming to Tennessee. When I posted the Tennessee poster, a couple listeners saying they're coming by.
Good.
Yeah, so it'll be very interesting. And please stop at my table, say hello. I'll tell Cruiser you say hello too. So
yes, please do. Yeah, if Bruiser's in your area. And by the way, you can follow him on social media, and he posts. He's quite good about posting where he's going to be. Stop by and say hey to Bruiser, and bring him goodies.
Yeah, I love it. I'll take it.
Bring him goodies. Stop by and say hey to Bruiser in whatever town he's in, if he's in your town. But yeah, stop by and support Bruiser. We appreciate that.
Definitely.
But like I said, tomorrow on the show, we're talking ghosts. I know that much. And we'll have some good shows coming up for you in the next few weeks. I've got some interesting plans for you for the next few weeks. And we're going to be catching up with some old friends in the next few months. So we've got that going on. Folks, I want to remind you again to support our sponsors. Our sponsors are what makes the show tick. Today's sponsor is Microdose Gummies. I want to remind you as well, save on Microdose Gummies. Go to microdose.com to learn more about microdosing THC. They ship in all 50 states. Why, you may ask? It's this simple. Microdose Gummies are a simple mix of CBD and THC in the gummies to help relieve pain, to help relieve anxiety, to help you sleep better. That THC is less than the maximum allowed by federal law, less than 0.3% THC derived from industrial hemp. It'll help you sleep better. It'll help you get out of pain, help you get out of anxiety. It'll help you improve your life. It's real simple, folks. They ship to all 50 states because there is less than 0.3% THC. Learn about microdosing right now. Go to microdose.com and learn about microdosing THC and learn about microdose gummies. While you learn about microdose gummies, save yourself some money. Get free shipping. Get 30% off your first order by using the code DARKNESS. Do it right now. Again, go to microdose.com, save 30% off your first order, get free shipping. Do it today. We want to thank Microdose Gummies for sponsoring the program today as well. Folks, tomorrow on the show, it's ghosts. Ghosts, right here on the best in paranormal podcasting. This has been Darkness Radio.